You want to go first? I want to go first. Who's going first, Eric?
John, I'm Eric DiGirolamo.
And I'm John Camo, also known as Dixie. Dixie Norris is my Twitter feed. And you guys, at least the people that are here that are not watching the Forensic Four, thank you for tuning in to our show tonight. We're live.
We're live, John. I looked at the script a little earlier. Are we going to be able to keep this in that 2.5 hour time frame? I mean, is this a 2-shower?
No, I'm going to put myself on 1.5 speed, right? Maybe 2. I'll go to 2 speed, and let's fly through this, because this is a 2-show. This is literally the amount of information that we have is worthy of 2 shows. But you know us, we just do 1 show, 1 show a week. And then we do the select board, the select board watch party. So, So good evening to all the Cronks that are with us tonight. Sorry about the Bruins. I knew it was going to happen. It is, they're lucky they are where they are. And I did notice that Swayman's a little upset at his team after they lost 6-1, but
John, on a bright note, the Red Sox won.
Oh, there you go.
New manager,
new
team, new atmosphere in the locker room.
Well, there you go. I liked Cora. So I want to give a huge shout out to 2 of our Cronks that I saw last night at the Tahiti. Yeah, I was in denim again. They got all brand new chairs in the lounge. Same exact chairs as they had before, but now they're new. There's no rips in them, missing a wheel or anything like that. They're a little more orange than red, but they got all new chairs in the lounge, and I was almost ready to leave. The person I was with was checking his Keno at the front desk, and I bumped into someone that they informed me that they were a Cronk. So hello, hello to my Dedham Cronk. We got to watch some great playoff hockey before I made the rounds to Canton, Stoughton, Brockton, and then just to get a little more of the gossip all around in those towns. So the other thing I did so we got a jam-packed show. But one of the other things I did was when I was in Stoughton, right? I met this woman who I didn't even know that this thing existed, right? And she puts photos on metal, not taping them on or gluing them on. It's embedding them into the metal. It's called sublimation. And when you explain the process, it sounds like something you got to do in chemistry class, but it's pretty wild. I guess you take the photo, you heat it up to 400 degrees, and it turns the ink into a gas, fuses it into the metal surface. So it's not a sticker, and it's not paint. It's pretty much like a tattoo on metal for pictures. And I'm telling you, it gives CVS the photos. It gives them a run for their money.
You got any examples you can show us, John?
I do have some examples. Let me show you. I'll bring this up. So this is all on metal, like on a metal plate. Here's the back. There's the back in the metal. Some of these photos she actually took. Like that photo, I think she took. She travels the world. She travels all over the world. Anyways, it's metal. It's metals by Anna, right? And she's from Stoughton. And her site's Metal Prints by Anna. It's Anya. Anya. She's from Poland. Small business. She's got a small business and does everything like family photos, sports photos, business displays, and she's running a 20% Mother's Day special, and she's on TikTok, Instagram. If you guys want something kind of neat, for Mother's Day, there you go. Medals by Nina. Just a little shout out to her.
I assume that putting that and infusing on the metal, there'd be virtually no chance of it fading out over years like normal pitches might.
It's something new to me, so
look pretty cool.
Yeah. Am I on the wrong mic? Can you not hear me?
I can hear you. I just want to make sure because I know last episode we did you were on the wrong mic.
Down. Hold on. How about now? Oh,
you sound fine. It's just a matter of is it picking it up off the computer or is it the mic?
No, it's this.
I don't hear you. I don't hear your finger, buddy.
You hear that?
I do.
Yeah, that's it's on this mic. Yeah, see, we're all good. It's your headphones. It's your headphones, Eric. You probably haven't turned down.
I don't want the end of the show to come and then you say, hey, what the hell? You didn't tell me about my mic. I was just double checking. That's all.
Yeah,
need you to be comfortable, happy. We got a long show.
We have a long show, but we're just a hey, anybody can do this, so this is why we do it. So all right, we're gonna get into this. So earlier, about I don't know, Monday or Tuesday, right? I saw this documentary. It's only a little over an hour long, and it's not about Karen Reed, not about Canton, but it might as well be. And it's called the 75, and it was about systemic misconduct inside the New York Police Department. And it wasn't one bad apple; it was a bunch. And it all stemmed from one guy, though. This Michael Dowd. Excuse me. He was a cop that he didn't just bend the rules; he obliterated them. And so we got a little clip from it that Michael Dowd. Yep. And see, Big Earl knows. So let's pull it up here. Frozen. Who's frozen? I'm frozen.
You were.
But can you hear me?
You're not frozen anymore, I don't think.
No, but you can hear me. That's all that matters. Big Earl it is. Let's just get the gist of it. All right. But because I think after watching it, when you start watching some of the other things that we're going to talk about tonight, it really makes some sense. So
recall having internal affairs, giving a lesson to the class. And after the individual left, our academy instructor looked at us and said, now, you can go that way or you can go this way. You want to be a successful cop, you don't go that way. And this is the academy. I mean, I didn't even step on the street yet, and I'm being told, side in this direction with whatever you got to do. Cover your ass. That was the biggest thing. You cover your ass so that you don't have to deal with internal affairs.
Remember, like I said, cover your ass. You're either with us or you're against us. And there's going to be a couple other slogans that they're going to be saying in this. It highlights the culture of cops, backing cops, no matter what. You back them no matter what. And this is what we're going to see. Play this again.
Mr. Dowd, in your experiences in your first year, did you come to learn what it meant for a police officer to be quote unquote good?
Now, before he answers that, after he was arrested and before his trial, he agreed to testify in front of this committee. So this is the committee he's testifying in front of.
Yes.
Could you tell the commissioners and the public what it means to be good in the police jargon as you know it?
Well, being good is a cop that would never give up another cop. A cop that if he witnesses something go down, he's 100% behind anything a cop does, no matter what it is.
Why weren't other police officers in your command turning you in?
Because I'm still a cop. Cops don't turn in other cops.
Even when the person they're depending on for survival is doing lines of coke in the R&P, is drinking daily to the state that, as you said, you're sometimes a fall-down drunk?
Remember what I said. Drinking on duty. Ring a bell. Ring a bell with anyone? Not reporting. Why the higher ups not reporting anyone? Ring a bell with that person either?
Misplacing badges and firearms.
And firearms. Yeah. Okay.
Even then, they remain silent?
Cops don't want to be labeled as rats. Cops depend on one another to survive out there.
If I could relive.
Now, they don't want to be labeled rats. They depend on each other. I don't know, kind of like someone that may have wanted to say something and then got maybe scared into, and this is just an observation. I'm not saying anybody got scared into, reining in what they actually reported on, and then their memory changed.
False memories.
So this is his partner that it all started with. They went to a call, and the person you saw first, Michael Dowd, after they left the call, gave this guy $100 because they stole from the person. I hadn't even seen this documentary until this week. It's incredible. But this is his partner.
That first moment where he threw me that $100 in a car, as a 52-year-old man, there was a fourth option to the three options I saw. The fourth option was go to an outside agency, not go to internal affairs and cut my own throat, not accept the money and go along with them and not ignore it and be just as guilty. The fourth option, which I never saw as a kid, was go to an outside agency.
So there you go. So I saw that early this week, and after seeing what went down on Thursday and Friday, it really hits home that when you think about Proctor's actions, Goody's actions, Devers' statements, Kevin Albert and what went down with him a couple of years ago. It's called The 75. That's what that movie was. The documentary was called The 75. And it gets way deeper into other things too, and it basically explains how things happened. It doesn't happen just overnight. It's small little things that grow and grow and grow and grow. So tonight, like I said, it's not one bad apple. It's not one mistake. It's patterns and protection and silence. Those officers back there in New York, they were stealing drug money because they didn't think anyone was going to ever come after them because they were basically taking from drug dealers. And then they were protecting other drug dealers. And then they were planting evidence. And they basically were running their own business while on the clock for the department. And I'm not saying that happened up here. I'm just saying that's what that documentary was about. And it started with the fact that people knew about it. People knew that this guy was a bad guy. His partner right there begged them not to pair him up with him because he had heard all the stories of him. So you got people that know that there's a bad guy, yet nothing happened. And it really got out of hand. And the big takeaway from that is when he testified, he admitted his own corruption openly, but then he didn't implicate anyone else in the department, no officer. So basically at the time, he was one of the most corrupt cops in New York history, but he drew the line at naming any other cops. And so it shows you that, how it's just, you don't break the line. You don't break the line.
Is he still walking the planet?
He is. And I found it because I saw it on it was on an Instagram reel. He was on an interview with someone else, and then I watched his little. He talked about how they took him down, and so I wanted to hear more of the story. So I went looking for it, and I found it on. I just Googled it, and it's free. If you go to Google and go to videos, you'll find it there, big girl. Yeah. So try not to do it while we're on. Maybe watch it some other time. But yeah, and you know what? Same thing. Family and friends don't ask questions. You're right. The wives knew about it. Both wives, both those guys' wives knew about it. They would go to Atlantic City with all their money. They bought Corvettes. I mean, it was it was quite the documentary. So, like I said, I want you to keep that in the back of your mind, because what we're seeing now in the Karen Reed universe is starting to look very familiar. And it started on, it didn't start, but we saw it on Thursday. And that was Proctor's not going away. Right? I mean, from the story. Because every attempt to make this all about, it's old text, or it's his personal phone, personal behavior, he's right in the middle of this shitstorm.
So the reason you're bringing up Thursday is because there was a hearing, John?
Yeah. Yep.
And what was there were a lot of parties at this hearing, if I remember correctly.
There was Karen's lawyer was there. Rosemarie Scarpaccio was there for her two clients.
You might have just butchered that last name, man.
Scarpaccio.
Yeah, we're close, probably. I mean, listen, I got DiGirolamo. I hear it so many different ways.
Well, how do you say it?
I don't know that I get it right. I think it's
you say it.
Scarpaccio.
Scarpaccio. That's what I said.
As long as we got, I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody give us a thumbs up if we're getting it right.
Scarpaccio. I'm half Italian. I can't even say your name. Yeah, so I'm freezing. I have horrible internet. I'm gonna have to go back to T-Mobile. That's gonna be the problem. Scarpaccio.
There you go.
Scarpaccio. Yeah. Scarpaccio, and just call me Freeze Normus, okay? Because apparently I am going to keep freezing on the screen. Let me get my first text coming in that I'm frozen, right? Let me see. No, it's a T-Move. I got a T-Move. All right, so that's good. Yeah. Scarpaccio. Yeah, so she was there, and obviously Proctor's lawyer was there. There was a whole slew of lawyers, and well, we might as well get right into it. And you've had AT&T for 20 years, never had a problem. Well, I had T-Mobile for 20 years. I never had a problem. I went to AT&T because they were $100 cheaper a month, and now you get frozen me. You got a frozen Dixie. All right.
No loyalty for like $3 a month. Wow. Wow.
$3 a month, $100 a month.
$100 $100 a month. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you get what you pay for, John.
T-Mobile was getting very expensive. I'll deal with this for a year, and then I'll go back the other way, or wherever. Maybe I'll go to Verizon. Whatever. Here's the other thing. All these cable companies, it's not cable anymore. Nothing. It's all in it. It's all wireless. You call it cable when they don't even use cable anymore. The biggest thing was FiOS, right? Oh, it's going to be this FiOS, whatever these wires that they had.
The routers are still plugged into the. Well, it depends on who you have. If you got Comcast, it's into the cable.
It's all wireless.
Not on the Comcast.
Oh yeah, so, there you go. AT&T's. I got a little box up there in the window, and everything's wireless. I'm gonna get brain cancer. All those waves going through my body. Yeah. No wires on T-Mobile either. You're right. Yeah. Mullins doesn't want to have to learn another phone in the phone system. Yeah. Listen, we're getting all new phones, new phone numbers. I'm gonna dump my phone into a dumpster down the Cape and go with a new phone number. Not because I have anything on it. It's because I'm tired of all these scam phone calls, like 2 or 3 a day. It's really picked up. So I want to get rid of these. I want to get rid of these scam phone.
Yeah,
phone
trust me,
calls.
they'll find you.
Yeah, I got to start fresh with
They
a whole
come
new.
back.
Yeah. So we might as well start with Karen's lawyer. So this is what we saw on Thursday. Let's bring up Karen's lawyer.
Opposed to the Commonwealth, Your Honor, it's very clear why Michael Proctor opposes this motion. As we said in our papers, these communications are not private, they're not personal, they're not confidential, and they're not privileged. But what they are is staggeringly anti-woman, racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, among other things.
Did he miss anything? I'm just wondering. Is he just go after everyone that's not him?
He covered all the bases right there,
Okay.
I think.
Just checking. He did, didn't he? It's everyone.
And that description applies to messages from both Mr. Proctor and Sergeant Good of the Canton Police Department.
And
so it's understandable
Sergeant
why Mr.
Good.
Proctor wants to keep that secret, but he has no right or basis to do so.
There you go.
Is that Adam Lally in the background there?
Yep, that's Adam Lally in the background.
Taking notes.
And if you noticed, and Sergeant Good. He included Good in that whole thing. So we're gonna have to see what we're gonna see. Oh, we're not gonna see what's in the texts, but it's gonna come out eventually.
We're gonna get a little flair for it from Rosemary.
We are. And speaking of Rosemary, so she's representing a couple defendants connected to cases that Proctor investigated, which is weird. She was also Kevin Albert's lawyer early on in this investigation, because some of the emails that came out on Friday, I thought I saw one that had her listed as Kevin's Albert. And this is before he actually took, how he was setting up the interviews for people.
Yeah, I believe that email that we saw that identified her as his attorney was sometime in 2024.
Yep. You got to hold. One second. Sorry. Because I want to get some real work done. I'm shoeless Joe Jackson. Yeah, so she was, it's just so weird. She was there. So she was up next. And like I said, it shows you it's no longer just Karen Reed versus the Commonwealth. This is multiple legal teams, multiple cases, all circling around the same issue: the integrity of the investigation into whichever case. It all revolves around Proctor. So let's pull up Rose.
That application, any of the
oh, wait a minute. We got to start from the beginning.
This protective order is ridiculous. He doesn't meet any of the conditions for which a protective order should issue. He's not a victim. He doesn't need protection. No one has threatened him. He says some vulgar, disgusting things that apparently repeatedly from 2014 to 2022, and shares it with his friends like it's please pass the buck. That's the tone of these conversations, Judge. And so the protective orders, for my purposes, are interfering with my client's ability to get a fair trial. Right now, my client, Mr. Johnson, is housed at the Norfolk County House of Correction. We moved mountains to get him access to what we call the Proctor materials. And
the
right
Proctor
now,
materials.
There's a 44,000 page report that comes from his
44,000.
and there's additional information, close to 70,000 documents that he has to review. Right now, he gets 2 hours a week to review them. He's got a November trial date. It's not going to happen, Judge.
Imagine being that person and you're only allowed 2 hours to work on your case before you go to, a trial for your life.
Yeah, and knowing that the lead investigator was, Michael Proctor, who's perceived now to be, he doesn't even have his job anymore. So, and his job was terminated due to these text messages related to work.
Yeah.
And certainly, it doesn't sound like these pictures that he's sending around are from what I'm understanding, they're coming from crime scenes.
They're not his wife.
And possibly
He's not sharing pictures of his wife.
some of these people might be deceased.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to get into that. Dennis, yes, I did. I watched the whole thing today. It was amazing. And we are going to get into it tonight. That's why I'm speeding through all of this stuff, because it was on Canton Cable, and I have it. And like I said, that's why I said we had so much. I don't know if we're going to do it in 2 shows, but we're gonna try to get through everything as quickly as we can without, we're going to give everything its due, and then get to it. So there you go. Let's go back to Rosemary, because she's frozen.
It's taken me almost 7 months to get through the bulk of what was happening with Trooper Proctor. So I'm here again, Judge, saying that this man should not be treated any differently than any other witness in any other case. Why are we protecting him? Why is the Commonwealth protecting him? Why is anyone protecting him? The public should get to know exactly who he is and what he's done. They do that with any witness. If it's a regular witness who appears before any judiciary body and they've done something wrong, they have criminal records that they plaster all over the front page of papers, nothing like that is private. And so why are we considering this private in this case, Judge? And that's really the issue that I have. And I've also, we're not arguing today, Judge, but I've filed motions in both Mr. King and Mr. Johnson's case for materials regarding Mr. Proctor's hiring, Mr. Proctor's application.
All right, I got to pause for a minute. I hear the same thing as you heard earlier, Eric. A little cutting in and out. And you know what? I'm definitely gonna have to talk to AT&T about this. I'm not having fun.
Mr. Proctor, whoever reviewed that application, any of the exhibits to that application, and then any and all of his training, because I think his lawyer said it best. Our point is that he's biased. It's certainly against black and brown individuals. I think Ms. Reed has a different issue, and I'm not disputing that he's biased against women as well. But in this case, Judge, our position is that it's not a separate entity. In other words, when we did the Ellis case, and we knew the police officers at Ellis were committing crimes, in the beginning, when the first lawyers filed that motion for a new trial, we couldn't connect the crimes to the actual the conviction in Ellis. And it took us 18 years to be able to do that. We were able to finally connect it. This is completely different. This isn't like that. It's not a separate entity. It's who this man is. He's a racist, really a racist person from the beginning. Some of the things that he says, Judge, which I know you've heard through the grapevine, but some of the things that he says, like he'll say things like, "It's kill an N-word in Canton Day." Everybody get there. Like,
I get
this is
your
what we're
point.
dealing with, Judge.
I get
and
your
so
point.
what are we protecting? That's what I can't figure out. What are we protecting here?
Okay.
Why isn't he subject to the same type of scrutiny that every other witness in every other case is subject to? And I'm saying it specifically for Mr. Johnson, who's in custody, who doesn't have access to his materials, who can't be ready for a November trial date unless we do something different, Judge. And in this case, the difference that I want the court to consider is to be able to give him all of these materials in paper form, in a single cell, so he can review them and be ready for his November trial. That's what I'm asking.
Thanks very much.
It was killing me that it was. It pausing for you guys too? Was there a little hiccups all along for you too?
Yeah, it was for me.
I'll
tell you though, Rosemary,
it's
you know, I had heard that Rosemary was maybe not informed that the hearing was going to be scheduled for that date, and found out in a short time prior. And for her to come in and really knock
and have her
cover
hair
off
done
the
in
ball,
time and everything.
It's well, you know, she's even when she's not prepared, she's prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's impressive.
So some of the things that she got to was basically, like you said, why is he being protected? Right? A person, is it because of him? Is it because of the process? Is it the system? Right? Because if it was just about one guy, you would think that this would have been cleared up already. But instead, it's delays, it's silence, it's controlled releases. And to me, it's looking a lot less like accountability and more like containment.
Damage control?
Yeah. And it gave me other questions like, what happens when that inappropriate behavior is tolerated early on? Just like we just saw. with the 75. When his inappropriate behavior is tolerated by higher ups, when they give him good reviews, and they can't, the fact that Tully and Yuri want to use the agreement they signed there. What do you call it? The disclosure agreement. He wanted to use the disclosure agreement as why he couldn't. No, they knew all of this before the disclosure agreement, right? They tolerated this. They allowed it, right? And then what happens when the texts, the bias, the conduct gets brushed off as it's private, it's no big deal, okay? Well, like you said a couple minutes ago, well, what happens if when we come to find out that, they weren't pictures of an old girlfriend, they weren't pictures of a wife, and they weren't just pictures from the internet? Okay? Because Proctor was removed very publicly. He was fired. He became a liability for the Mass State Police. And now think about Tully, Yuri, Good, Dev, okay? And some other officers. Keep that in mind, because that's not just bad optics. That's bias. That's intent. That's integrity. They didn't even put him on the stand in the second trial. I mean, nobody wanted to touch the kid. Nobody. They wanted nothing to do with him. That's your star investigator. Can't even testify in the retrial. That means you have a witness problem. You have a credibility problem, right? I have another one.
They couldn't even refer to him as the lead investigator, even though he was the lead investigator. They renamed whatever
just
that
for the
was.
trial,
just for the trial.
Because
yet other trials, he was a lead investigator.
Even Tully admitted that he was a lead investigator. Am I still frozen? Am I frozen?
You're off and on. You're in and out.
I'm off and on. I apologize. It's the internet.
Your sound is coming through crystal clear.
Yeah, it's the internet, and I'm sorry, guys. Short of me ducking out for a minute and coming back and leaving Eric to talk to you guys for a minute and a half,
it's probably not going to solve the problem anyways.
I don't know. You want me to do it?
No, stay right there.
All right, we'll deal with the frozen.
If your volume goes away, then we'll consider it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. So I'm just reading the chat real quick. Restart the router. Yeah, you know how long it would take for me to come back? Eric, there's no way.
We'll see you Monday.
There's no way Eric's going to run the show for 5 minutes while I restart the router.
Listen, I'm your little sidekick here, buddy.
Oh, it's StreamYard. If I look at another tab, I freeze. Yeah, and I'm looking at
tabs.
Huh?
Except what you need.
Well, that's all I have. I just have one tab. Yeah, call Chris. No, well,
hey, at least you're not watching the Bruins.
Oh God, that was horrible. Well, you guys don't have to take my word for it, for what just went down between Karen's lawyer and Rose Marie. Let's take someone. Let's take someone that has a little bit more experience with the law and see what they had to say about all this.
12 years as a Mass State Trooper. He was evaluated every single year by his supervisors. He was never disciplined.
There's a reason he wasn't disciplined.
He never received a letter of warning, was never suspended.
Exactly. Given all his nefarious conduct, all his bias, all his inability to solve a crime, he still was never subjected to any type of reprimand by his supervisor. This literally proves Karen Reed's negligent supervision. Thank you very much, Proctor's attorney.
He worked 40 hours a week, keeping drug dealers away from our kids' schools, murderers away from our family, rapists away from our children. After they came out, the Norfolk District Attorney's Office investigated him. The Mass State Police investigated him. A federal grand jury investigated him and closed the investigation.
All of which substantiates Karen Reed's claim for negligent supervision. The fact that this guy was able to maintain his job after all of that was discovered is completely negligent and outrageous.
There you go. That's what Loopy thinks of it. So apparently there was a while I was over in where was I Friday? Oh no, I was in Rhode Island Friday night. So I guess there was a party fundraiser for them again Friday night. Yeah, well, good for them. Everybody should be trying to make money, right? You know, you guys want to donate to us? We'll make money. No, don't. I'm just don't.
John, they've got a lot of lawyer fees.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. They do have a lot of lawyers.
You don't have any of those yet.
Yet. Yet. I know. I'm now. Oh, when I heard him say this, I was sick. How can you say this with a straight face? No. Wow. The dog did not go crazy. Look at that. I was
You
waiting.
you told her to sit.
No. The dog didn't see the truck coming into. Usually, the dog looking at the window, he'll go absolutely berserk. Yeah, he missed it. So, anyways, there was oh, you know what? I didn't play that because I didn't have it up in time. I didn't have it. See, I was supposed to stay on top of this stuff.
What do you got? Anything good?
Well, no, nothing good. I think it's this one. Hopefully it's this one. I don't know. Loopy just was talking about nefarious, right?
Mm-hmm.
About me calling my sister that is nefarious, and I feel like you're insinuating it might be, and it's not.
It's not. It's not nefarious. Is it nefarious or nefarious? What do you call it?
Nefarious.
Nefarious, right? I like nefarious. Yeah. So, yeah. So that was that's the theme that we're going with, that we're starting to see now, and there are all these little mysteries that they drove by, and oh, hold on, my chronic line's going crazy. It's no, nothing. It's AT&T telling me to give me a cease and desist, talking bad about them. So it's like I said, it's all these little mysteries that aren't mysteries at all, and all those emails that came out on Friday, and we're going to get into some of them. So remember when Jen told the jury that they just drove by, they slowly stopped, they didn't go in, they were just trying to figure things out, no big deal, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, and then we find out that that's not really what happened. And let me pull this one up because I wasn't ready for it because I had so much coming up. I have it right here. So for those that remember the trial, this is what went down at the trial. Right? Should say this is the email about what went down at the trial. So here's the email that went to Laura McLaughlin, and it was from Garino.
Went to Tully
right?
as well.
And it was CC Tully and Adam Lally, right? Good afternoon. I was able to go through Jen McCabe's phone and confirm her location data for the day of January 30th. She goes a few places, the O'Keefe's house, then the 34, where she was there for 5 minutes. And then where they're saying the Lang's house, she's there for about 45 minutes and leaves, goes home, right? And, we all saw these. She goes home for the night. It's
As I sit here today, I'm telling you that we slowly drove by.
She
And
slowly
you stated
drove.
again today that you stopped by Michael Lank's house, Sergeant Lank's house, directly from the O'Keefe residence as sort of a, my word, not yours, sort of a pit stop to drop off Carrie Roberts' daughter, correct?
Correct. We drove by and stopped, yes. Slowly stopped, yes. I think Carrie and I just went by to like take a look at it. We were still trying to figure everything out. As I sit here today, I'm telling you that we slowly drove by.
She's for 5 minutes. It's a slow 5 minute drive by, right?
It's a
5
very
minute
slow-
drive by.
Yeah.
Very. I mean, how slow do you have to go to have it show up on GPSs? No, right. There you go. How do you slowly stop? I mean,
In park.
there you go. Yeah, thank you. The graphic. That's their graphic. So I saw that. Yeah, actually, I made that, but I see that, and I'm like, you know what? I got to go back. Yeah, and just drove by in my 5.0 with my rag top down so my hair can blow. The girl is on standby, waiting just to say hi. Did you stop? No, I just drove by. That's there she is. She just drove by. Yeah, it's a big property. So I went back and let's see what the fuller extent of that.
Went to Meadows.
Yes.
Why did you go there?
To offer our condolences, sympathy, support, to be with the family. I love them.
Who did you leave with?
Carrie and my daughter stayed to be with Kaylee, and we left with her daughter.
Where did you go?
We were heading home, but then we ended up dropping off her daughter at her friend's house.
Now, who's her daughter? Don't give me a name. Carrie's daughter?
Carrie's daughter, yes. We had been at Meadows for a while, and then we left, dropped Lexi off, and then I went home. I don't know a time, maybe afternoon. I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
What do you recognize that location as being?
John O'Keefe's home.
Is that what we've talked about on Meadows?
Yes, Meadows.
Do you see a time and date for that location?
Yes, 1/30/2022 at 12:19.
What is that? Again, don't give me the full address. What is that location that's pinpointed?
That is my house.
Okay. And do you see a date and time for that location?
Yes, that's 1:30 at 5:21.
So it looks like she went home first.
When you say 1:30,
which we've
January
already
30th.
discussed.
Sorry, January
But
30th,
we just let everybody
2022
know that
at 5:21.
Okay.
not only did we
Looking
know
at
all
what's
this,
the date and time of that
so did
location?
the Commonwealth.
That is also 1/30/2022, and that is at 5:28.
Got it. What is that, again, what is that location?
That is 1/30/2022.
The location, the address?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is Fairview.
Appear to be 34 Fairview?
Yes,
And what's the date and time?
5:36.
What's the date? I'm sorry, what is that location?
That's Fairview again.
And what's the date and time?
That is 1/30/22 at 5:40.
I just want to pause this for a minute. I just want to thank all of you that have come over from the forensic room. I guess it's over because we just got a notification that some of the people that were watching forensic are now watching us. So hello everybody from the forensic 4, which was the forensic 3 because one of them had laryngitis or something tonight. But we'll finish with this real quickly.
What is that location without giving me the address?
I believe that's Mike Lanks.
What's the date and time?
1/30/2022.
January 30th, 2022. And
Yes.
the time, please?
5:43.
You're familiar with Canton, obviously?
Yes.
Much more
Yes,
than
she
we
is.
are. Is
Yes.
driving time from 34 Fairview to Michael Lank's house consistent with about 3-4 minutes?
Yes.
It could be with they have multiple stop signs,
Weather.
and due to the weather.
Right. See another pinpointed address?
Yes, I believe it's the same one
Okay. The same address on
as
Oakdale?
Mike Lank.
Okay. And what's the time? What's the date of that?
1/30/2022, and that is 6:28.
And 6:28 is about 45 minutes after 5:43, give or take. Correct?
Yeah.
Is that your address?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And
Yes, it is.
what's the date and time of that pinpoint?
That is 1:30:22 as well, and that is at 6:34.
And you stated again today that you stopped by Michael Lank's house, Sergeant Lank's house, directly from the O'Keefe residence as sort of a, my word, not yours, sort of a pit stop to drop off Carrie Roberts' daughter, correct?
Correct.
In point of fact, you actually drove from your personal residence to Michael Lank's house as a destination, didn't you?
Remember we did the whole show on this where we showed the map.
Oh yeah.
Where she was at Meadows, she went home, then from her house she went to 34 Fairview, then to Lank's, which when anyone that lives in Canton knows that there'd be no reason for her when we drove by 34, because that's the way it goes to Lank's. That was how it was in the first trial, right? But yeah, it's amazing how easy they roll this off. That it's nothing nefarious. It was nothing nefarious about this.
I don't remember that. This is what this piece of paper says. I remember just leaving Meadows and dropping off Lexi. We drove by and stopped, yes. Slowly stopped, yes.
Slowly stopped?
No, I never went in the house. I think Carrie and I just went by to take a look at it. We were still trying to figure everything out. I have to look at the report, but yeah, we were sitting in the car kind of just oh my God, looking.
Just 4 to 6 minutes, John. John, you with us, buddy? You freeze? Well, let's continue.
No, Mike, no.
Didn't go in the house.
You all right, buddy?
Yeah, my internet friggin' froze. Yeah, I told you it was going to be a problem. Told you it was going to. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine. I can see you fine.
Sorry. Yeah. You know what? It is. It is. It's bad. It is what it is. You know, I'm gonna struggle through it with the rest of you.
We didn't go in the house, no.
Nobody came outside to talk to you?
No.
You didn't speak to Nicole?
I don't believe so.
Possible?
Like I said, Carrie and I just kind of drove by and were looking at the area.
On May 21st.
So right before I got frozen, right? Let me back it up a tiny bit right here. Jesus Christ, freaking people, you know. I have a family member that doesn't watch us, but I do tell him, and it's nonstop texting in a group text with him and a couple other people, and my phone, I have it turned down completely, but it still vibrates, and I don't know how to shut the vibrating part off. And it's just constantly friggin'. It's Sunday night at 7:00, and he's just texting silly stuff. Anyways,
he knows you're on. He knows you're on.
He doesn't watch. He honestly doesn't watch.
Oh, it doesn't mean he watches, but he's just,
Yeah, he knows. I mean, I told him. I told him today. You know, I'm like, listen, I can't. I got something at 7. He knows I'm on. But
like I said, Carrie and I just kind of drove by and were looking at the area.
So they drove by and looking at the area. But like I said, right before I got frozen, the other thing.
I have to look at the report, but yeah, we were sitting in the car, kind of just oh my God, looking.
They were just sitting in the car, looking.
Didn't go in
5
the house.
minutes.
We didn't go in the house, no.
Nobody came outside to talk to you?
No.
You didn't speak to Nicole?
I don't believe so.
Possible?
I don't believe so. She didn't say no. She says, I don't believe so. That wasn't a yes or no. I don't believe so.
Like I said, Carrie and I just kind of drove by and were looking at the area.
Like I said.
On May 21st of last year, you were asked about this very thing in a prior proceeding, correct?
Correct.
At that time, you denied altogether ever going by 34 Fairview, correct?
No, I believe the paper says I never stopped by, but we...
The paper says. I believe the paper says.
drove by.
And now you're saying that you did stop.
Stopping by and driving by meant something different to me. Stopping by, I look at as like, then you pop in the house. Driving by is you just drive by. So we just drove by slowly and kind of looked at the scene. As I sit here today, I'm telling you that we slowly drove by.
Didn't see any taillights at that point.
Yeah. That was, yeah. As I sit here today, it was a slow drive-by.
John, can we get an eye roll?
It's her friend.
Yep. So we were just slowly stopping. But the Commonwealth knew this. They were aware of this before the trial. They were sending emails. Right. That they're 2A, they're 1A and 1B. Proctor and Jen, 1A, 1B. The 2-star witnesses. Right? It was documented. They had it. Right? It's what happens after. It's what happens afterwards. Right? It's what else did they know? Her story. It was so they tried to simplify her story, right? They framed it as, well, I went to Meadows and then we stopped by and we stopped by Lanks on my way home. When the actual was, right? It was Meadows to her house at 12:13, right? Then again, 5:21 to 5:28. 5:21, 5:28, she's at her house. At 5:36 to 5:40, she's at Fairview for 4.5 minutes, right? And then 5:43, she's at Lank's house until 6:28. Remember, she had to go in the bathroom and poop. And then back home at 6:34, right? That was the real timeline of it. So it's not that she never mentioned it. It's the fact that they tried to minimize it and flatten the timeline until we were heading home. And then we ended up at Lank's, because it's her friend. And then she wants to make it like it's a straight timeline, Meadows to Lank's, but that's not what the data had. Yeah. Yep. That was it was cold out in the car, So, and so I had 4 minutes. They have 5 minutes. And I don't know. Like I said, it's the fact that the state had this. So, like we're doing great on time. We're not a full hour in, and other than the internet issues, I think we're doing all right. So we might as well just give ourselves a little pep talk here.
I went to the O'Keefe's house.
Jen said they drove straight to Lanks. No stops, no slowdowns, no Fairview, except the GPS timing and basic math all say 4 minutes missing. Drive to chaos, snow still on the ground. Jen and Carrie take a drive across this little town. Said they went from O'Keefe's to Lank's house clean, but the timeline's tighter than the making it seem. You don't get from point A to B that fast, not with blizzard roads and the path they passed. 4 minutes vanished somewhere on that ride, and every time she dies, she swears they never pulled aside. But 4 minutes ain't magic. 4 minutes leaves a trace, especially when Fairview is smack between the place.
We didn't stop by. Maybe Carrie slowed down, but we did not stop by 34.
It's 4 minutes at Fairview, 4 minutes
Carrie dropping her daughter at one of her good friend's house, whose husband happens to be a Canton cop.
Never check that street. Never roll by the house where the timelines meet.
We didn't stop by. Maybe Carrie slowed down, but we did not stop by 34.
Never looked at the berm, never saw those lights, just straight to Lake's house, yeah, sure, in a blizzard's white, but Carrie's a talker.
Carrie's a talker, so...
Details spill, and Lake's wife magically appears on the hill, never went inside, didn't meet my glance.
Is the truth that it had everything?
Would these 4 minutes keep bouncing like checks from a certain bank? 4 minutes that don't add up, 4 minutes that crack the door, and every version Jen gives changes just a little more. 4 minutes at Fairview, 4 minutes she swears the lies, 4 minutes she waves away when the truth ain't on her side. 4 minutes between two houses, 4 minutes she hides from view, but 4 minutes exit you might be where the truth came through.
The two of us were trying to figure out what had happened to our friend.
Her sister was there writing down the timeline for us. Her sister Denise.
Street like that, not when John was found the day before, not when the whole damn town was watching, not when Proctor's calling from the other end of the phone. Maybe they passed, maybe they paused, maybe they checked who was there or who wasn't.
As you said, that's your story. I confronted you with a text message. You said she's telling them everything.
The two of us were trying to figure out what had happened to our friend.
Her sister was there writing down the timeline for
Who's
us.
that?
Her sister Denise.
It's her friend.
I do love that one line. Sorry. Oh my God. That was 4 minutes at Fairview when apparently it was 5. Right? It was 5 minutes. Hey, you're muted. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn.
I was just saying, was that from the original Kronk album?
That was one of the original. That was back in November. Can't believe I totally had forgot about that one. And now, and like I said, I had forgot about that one until I saw that email. I saw that email come out and I'm like, oh my God. It was 5 minutes, not 4 minutes.
4 to 6 minutes, somewhere in there.
4 to 6. Yeah, 4 to 6 minutes.
They didn't stop by. They just stopped.
Drove slowly.
So slowly, very slowly.
Drove
Extremely slowly.
slow. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, oh, yeah, that was, but, and got more coming. I got more coming because, I just don't have them. I just don't have them listed in the. I just don't. I just had so many videos. I don't have it in there. I got to put it in there. So Eric, you know what to do.
You'll be downloading for a little bit.
I got to download it right now.
Well, maybe
I got it right here.
John, it could be time for a word from our sponsor.
Oh, yeah, word from the sponsor. Go ahead. And then.
After a hard day at work, there is nothing better than a Pricks Insider.
Thank you, Eric. You got me right back on track.
Yeah,
right back.
Leave it to Pricks Insider to keep us going.
We're gonna bring the we're gonna bring the whiteboard back. So funny, funny how things have a way of connecting, right? So 4 minutes at Fairview, where they just drove by, didn't talk to anyone. Then they had to go to Lanks, where she had to poop for 45 minutes, right? Didn't, and it's all this driving around town. Eric, when you want to talk to someone, how do you talk to them?
I usually either call them or we get together and have a conversation face to face.
Well, let's look at this. Here, could it be? I'm not saying it was, but could it be this?
You said the reverse. I want to make sure we're very clear. The blue bubble is from Nicole. The green bubbles are from you.
Yes, correct.
Got it. And this text said, do you see a response from your sister to you?
Yes.
What does that say?
We'll get more info tomorrow. Don't want to text about it.
Could that be why? Because that was tomorrow.
Well, you know, text
the 4 minutes of Fairview, and right
timestamps and all the words.
Do you think that possibly could it have been? Hey, let's not text. Let's not text. All right, so just drive by. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. But they totally forgot that their phones actually tracked them.
Well, they weren't. They weren't. You know, at that time, they weren't thinking they were even going to consider looking at any of this data.
Well, at that time, they were detectives, right? Weren't they?
Correct.
Weren't they?
They were writing timelines down, all that stuff.
Right. So, you know, you don't want to talk on the phone or text. You're going to go meet in person. You're going to drive around town. You know. So, yeah. I'm not saying for the forensic 4 or 3, whatever they want to be today, tomorrow, House Defendant YouTube channel. All right. I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm saying that the timeline showed movement. It showed stops, right? Not drive-bys. It showed time spent in places that later in the trials they minimized. So when we hear, don't want to text about it, and then you see people physically moving around town instead of just calling, right? It raises the simple question: why was it that important that they couldn't text or call, right? They minimized all the interactions. I don't. You know what? I don't know why. And you know what? We will bring the whiteboard back. If we did a poll, people like the whiteboard. It's coming back. It's coming back. I got to get a. I do have access to a better easel. I need a stronger easel that can handle me writing on that whiteboard. So I will do a whiteboard show for you guys. How's that? We're gonna do a whiteboard show, Eric.
Hey, you know, if that's what the Kronks want, that's what the Kronks get.
It's like cowbell. It's like the cowbell. We need more timeline. You know? Yeah.
Well, you know, stories keep changing and all that stuff, so it's tough to keep track without a whiteboard.
Right. Yeah. Look at this. They love it. They love the time. They love the whiteboard. They want the whiteboard and the timelines. Those are the things. It's what I wanted. It's what I wanted. You know? So again, there's more. We also saw, now there's some things I'm gonna have to put up on the screen. So you're gonna be great. It's gonna be great because you're not gonna see me frozen, because there were other things that, like, remember we said it's what happened after. It's what happened after, right? And it's a pattern of decisions that ended up shaping the outcome before the investigation ever even began. All right. Again, going back to Proctor, right? There's a missing list that should have existed. All right. And we know that now. All right. Basic stuff. Okay. There should have been a suspect list, a person of interest list, a witness list. Okay. And we know that now because of Michael Easter. All right, let me put these up.
Sure, right? Who's Michael Easter?
You know, funny you asked. Let me put his thing up first. All right, that's Easter 3. Let's put up Easter, Michael Easter's thing. Okay, so Michael Easter, retired FBI special agent, 20 years of investigative experience. He had over a decade of experience as a national asset with the Cellular Analysis Survey Team. That's CAST. It's not CASA. It's CAST. He worked with thousands of cases involving mobile device location. He is like the phone guru. He's the guy that Karen's team wasn't allowed to have in court. Remember the judge? She didn't allow him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually he actually designed the curriculum that the FBI used to teach law enforcement partners the methodology for using mobile device location information. Right?
Why would Bev ever let him testify?
No, I know, huh? Right? He was an expert witness in over 200 cases. He taught witness testimony for over a decade.
How many in Norfolk County?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know in Norfolk County.
I wonder if he's ever testified in Norfolk County.
I don't know. We'd probably look into that. But he taught the course for 10 years to FBI special agents, local and state investigators all through the U.S. Right? So this guy was, was a genius. So when I go back to there should have been a suspect list, a person of interest, a witness list. The problem was there wasn't any. None from Canton, not from Mass State Police, not from Norfolk County DA's office. Right? So what we're looking here is Michael Easter had put out a paper on this, and of course I need to maximize it to look at all of the stuff where he gets into it, and he talks about Michael. He talks about Brian Higgins, and he said he would have immediately questioned the nature and necessity of all the tasks that Higgins went to. When Higgins said he went to the station, this guy says he would have immediately questioned him. He said that the affiliation with the ATF and the Department of Justice is a critical fact that appears to have been overlooked by CPD, MSP, and Norfolk District Attorney. It means that Agent Higgins, his ATF-issued cell phone would have contained location tracking data, right? Installed to track government cell phones, right? Those records should have been requested from the ATF or Department of Justice to validate or refute his statements, right? So this guy had all of the stuff listed that they should have used. It goes on. He goes on. There's a second one. Here's another one. It's probably the first one. I just can't see because I got to make it large. No, it's the second one. He talked about So he goes into detail on the fact that Higgins retained legal counsel and was interviewed with his attorney on February 3rd, 5 days after the O'Keefe's death, during what was presented as a witness interview, would have immediately triggered significant suspicion in my investigative process, right? And then he said, my review of case materials revealed that Agent Higgins' interview conducted by Proctor and Uri, and they said what the report number created by Trooper Uri on February 11th, notably among over 150 documents reviewed, Agent Higgins was the sole adult whose name was abbreviated in the file name. Goes on and on. Hold on a minute. I gotta go turn on a light. Hold on a second.
Go ahead.
It gets so dark in here.
In the meantime,
gone bad.
I'm back. I couldn't. I had a case of CSS.
John, if just a question on Higgins lawyering up so early. I assume that he kind of had an inside track to understanding that they were going to pin it on the girl. So if they were going to pin it on the girl, why would he need a lawyer at that point?
I don't know.
Questions.
I don't know.
We got questions.
Well, how about this? Notice how some people needed lawyers and some people didn't. You had Sarah Levinson didn't have a lawyer. Julie Nagel didn't have a lawyer. The three kids in the pickup trucks didn't have a lawyer. Brian Lucky didn't have a. We're going to get into Lucky. The threesome girls today, because there wasn't four of them. They were the forensic three. They hammered after Lucky today, and I got some of that too. So we're going to have to get into some Lucky talk because of the three skin girls. So let me get back to the Michael Easter stuff. He said that Agent Higgins' actions are highly suspicious and in my professional experience would have immediately raised concerns. Upon receiving information, I would have taken immediate steps to obtain his personal cell phone records. Specifically, I would have requested a comprehensive record of call detail records, cell site location information, network signaling data, the data. So again, this guy is showing that that these are the things they didn't do because they immediately just all roads went to Karen. And now you have an FBI expert saying these are the things they didn't do. There was no structured evaluation of who should be scrutinized. They chose their target within a day. All right. And then, so Karen's already labeled the person involved, the suspect. Meanwhile, 10 other people that were inside 34 Fairview were labeled witnesses. All right. Think about that. They were labeled witnesses, not suspects, not possible suspects, not even persons of interest. They were all just, everything was believed. This is what it was, right? They were witnesses, case closed, labels are all on them. And the investigation was framed. I didn't say she was framed, but they framed their investigation right from that minute. Let's pull up his third one. And then he's the three. So then you've got his review of the discovery materials reviewed a significant deficiency, the absence of a formal person of interest, witness, suspect list compiled. Like I said, it goes on and on. Incident report designated Karen Reed as person involved. And 10 other individuals, just witnesses. And he goes through it. He made a chart on this. I mean, this wasn't just someone just spouting stuff off. I mean, he knows his crap, right? So he's got, Jen McCabe, the date of her interviews, the date of the reports, So the date of the interview was 1/29. The date of the report was April 6th. And he shows who the interviews were. Cell phone records. No. The only one, Karen Reed, yes. They didn't get any cell phone records from anyone else but her.
Geez,
Right?
John, it appears that this analysis that Mr. Easter has done is quite contradictory to the analysis Five Stones, the audit company, did.
Listen, this was page 11. All right. I just showed you 3 pages out of his whole report. He had a full-on report. This is just page 11.
And he can get $200,000 to do this.
Right. How about Jen McCabe? Trooper Proctor documented in the affidavit and other reports that McCabe made statements that she was at 34th Fairview Road during cell phone communications with O'Keefe and Reed the moments before they determined O'Keefe's time of death. They should have made it a priority to submit preservation request or requested via legal process. McCabe's historical cell phone records. By obtaining the cell phone records, investigators could have determined the accurate time of her communications with O'Keefe and Reed. Relying solely on forensic extraction of her mobile device is insufficient because these extractions regularly have contradictions in dates and times as it relates to, and we already saw it. We already saw the contradictions on all the stuff. The 227, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, he just said before all the phones, one phone, before phones before any, at least Karen's phone was looked at, because we know Higgins just printed out his, and before any of the timelines were confirmed, and we know that they're not confirmed because they had her sister help her, and we saw the holes in that. They already had assigned all the roles to everybody. So there's a lot of problems there.
Huh.
I know, right? So all the stuff that was missed, all the GPS tracking, all the location data, all the activity logs, and there was no, especially even with Higgins, they could have obtained those from the Department of Justice, and they didn't. They didn't want to. I can't say they didn't want to. Maybe lapse of judgment. I don't know. Yeah, Denise. There you go. Denise's timeline, right? So Michael Easter would have shown you how to do a real one, but they relied on Denise to do it. So they could have pulled all the logs from everything. They could have checked more surveillance footage. I know they went house to house on some, and we know that there's at least 2 places in which footage is missing, private residence and their business. So, yeah. The fact that Higgins, he extracts his own data before he even meets, but without even being asked, before being interviewed, then he destroys his phone on a military installation. That's a problem.
Well, it was nice of him to take out a couple of extractions before he destroyed the phone, though, John.
Who would have said was playing? Who would they have said was playing Mike? Yeah, probably. I don't know. I have to see what Mike Leista looks like. Probably that Australian swimmer guy that's in all the those movies, all the action movies. Yeah. So,
what's next, John? What do you got now?
Oh, well, so if we go back to Proctor in the 75, remember Goody, right? Still nothing to see here, even though earlier tonight we heard about Scarpiccio. What did we say she was going to be?
Scarpiccio.
Scarpiccio. Oh, thank you.
Rosemary and not Rosemarie.
I have to thank someone because we are going to bring some other stuff up now. I just want to make sure it's okay. Oh yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. That Goody, so Goody is connected to Proctor's text, still getting paid, still not working, still not allowed in any Canton-owned building without an escort from the chief. And I was going to show something. And speaking of chief, like I said, we're getting close. We're gonna bring up the chief's interview with Canton Cable that just came out. So let me see if I can. I did not.
Which in itself could be a whole different show, but we're gonna jam it into this one.
Well, actually, we really could, but oh yeah, we have some posts to bring up. So I was going to get into. We'll save it. There was I had seen video if you go back and watch Goody when he goes to the when he leaves the station. When he first turns onto Chapman Street, you see there's a deer right on the side of the road eating, right in the snow, looking right at him. But then when he turns onto Fairview, maybe like by the second house, you can see all the way down to the bottom of Fairview, the lights from the second house. Before, I mean, like he has to travel and turn and you lose the lights for a minute. But from the top of Fairview, you can see the lights down at I couldn't believe it when I went back and saw it. I'm like, dude, like it's almost immediately after he turns on to Fairview. You can see
the emergency lights. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah. Right from the beginning of Fairview. Yep. Yeah, no idea. I think it was just drinking a little water right near the side of the road. Yeah. As Goody drove by. I was going to show that. That'll be in another show because we can. I want to get to where some posts here that get rid of Easter. I got all these. The women. I get rid of this one. I had so much that I just wasn't able to. Oh, is this the one? Oh yeah. Well, that's coming up too. That's another Julie Carpenter one coming up too. It's Courtney, it's Julie, a lot of Kerry. Let me see if I can find it. I had it all in all these screenshots that I just had. But I can just pull it up from my Twitter. So Julie Carpenter basically goes after me for asking about she goes after me by asking about the different inconsistencies.
To John, is that right? Correct.
Oh yeah, there's so much here. And you're not helping there, Eric.
Well, I'm not sure where you're going with this, John.
Yeah, well,
He's lived there for 40 years.
Put my volume down here. How many days
Do you need a commercial?
Oh,
break?
here it goes. Oh yeah, no. So Julie basically said that I spent 3 years falsely accusing people and stalking them. So now I'm scared and hoping to find anything to rationalize and defend what I did. And she said, stop trying, because I was talking about how there was the defamation lawsuit filed by members of the McCabe-Albert group, the House defendants, the McAlberts, the Commonwealth witnesses, whatever they want to be called, right? And they had listed Colin. And I basically brought up the fact that, and these are my words, where I just said, you have to go back to the testimony and the timeline. Timelines, you guys like the timelines. And I said, Colin says he was at Mike Leonetti's house, and he admits he doesn't remember how he got to Mike Leonetti's house. But he does remember he was drinking Bud Lights, right? So right off the bat, he's got a memory lapse, all right? There's gaps in his memory for the night, how his night even started, okay? But he then testified that Allie McCabe picked him up and brought him to Fairview between 10:30 and 11. There's the timeline, right? From the actual text when Colin wanted to ride home at 11:54, which we have, right? We have this little, here it is. Let's pull that up, right? 11:54, you can get me now, if easier. 11:55, okay, I'm driving people home. Word. Okay, right? And she responds 11:55, and he answers her back with word. And at 12:10, she texts here. From her testimony, she had Avery and Danielle in the car with her, and she had to drop them off. Then she went to another friend's house, then came back to pick up Colin, all between 11:54 and 12. So does that mean she had Avery and Danielle in her car when she brought Colin over to 34 Fairview, right? And then she took them home and then went to someone's house and then went back to pick up Colin. And that's all I'm asking, right? And we were wondering, where was she when she got the text? She knows whose friends, she knows where she was, but she's got a memory lapse now all of a sudden. She wasn't drinking at all, but she doesn't remember how she got to Fairview from the friend's house. She doesn't remember where she parked. She just says, I believe in the driveway. A lot of them would say, none of them would answer things yes or no. They would say, I believe, I think, right? And she says, I believe in the driveway, not entirely sure. And they asked, how long between here and Colin come out? She goes, a few minutes. But meanwhile, Colin's version was that the minute he said that she texted here, he came out 30 seconds. And he says he exited through the side door near the garage. Once again, he says he bumped into Uncle Brian and Auntie Nicole. But Nicole went through the front door because she took her shoes off, right? He told her he was leaving because his ride was coming. But he basically said the action of him leaving was her saying he was here. So anyways, Brian Albert says he comes in the side door and that Colin was in the kitchen no more than 5 minutes. If Colin was in the kitchen for 5 minutes after they got home, Jen and Matt would already be in the driveway, and that means there would be no room for them. So it wasn't 5 minutes. And he went to the bathroom. When he came out, Colin was gone. Allie says she drove straight home. We've done this over and over and over, but you can't recall the route, right? Colin says Chris was already in bed. We already know there was no way, Eric, we know there was no way for Chris to leave the bar when he did on video that we saw. And yeah, Colin was 17. Okay. I know he was 17. He's still Colin being
drinking Bud Lights at
17
17
and drinking Bud Lights and getting home before his father, who was in bed. That's what doesn't make any sense to me. That's all I'm saying over and over and over. So it's conflicting timelines. And all I said is, the timeline and the limited physical evidence to anchor it. That right there, that's the physical evidence that anchored their whole timeline. We took a screenshot. They didn't take a phone extraction, right? I'm not claiming to know what happened,
John,
but I just want to know if anything ever happens, can I just use screenshots as my defense, or do I have to do a phone extraction?
John.
Oh, there you go. Sorry. Quoting Chris Allen. He was 17. Yeah.
John, let's I can't control the screen for some reason. So let's put us back up there.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You gotta just take that. You just gotta take that picture down. Look, just take the picture
I wasn't able to do it.
What do you mean? It's got to be. Yeah, there you go. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right.
I mean, for me, I don't know about for you. You're a little blurry. I'm
at
a
this
little
point,
clear.
At this point, I'm blurry. It's the internet. Blame the internet.
At least you're not frozen.
I'm not frozen, but it's the internet. Now I'm blurry. So
looking at the text messages.
Right. So there you go. So I post that and she comes after me, right? And all I was doing was questioning the inconsistencies. I was analyzing the evidence, a screenshot, and I was challenging the testimony versus facts. So if I point out contradictions, I'm a conspiracy theorist, and if I don't blindly agree with them, then I'm dangerous. And basically that's how they're playing.
I just don't think they like you.
Of course not. They don't. Yeah, it is what it is. Let me see if I can pull up that goodie video real quick. Or we could. Well, I still have to download the Lucky stuff that they would trash in Lucky tonight. Yeah. Oh, here it is.
That's not allowed, by the way.
Yeah. Let me see how I have it in the. I know. Let me see if I already put it into, at least into my Google. Hopefully, into my Google. I do have it there, but no, I don't. So that's horrible. I can't believe I didn't have that. I've been working since 11 o'clock on this stuff, people, and I can't believe I missed some of the stuff to download. But sorry.
You worked hard today, John.
I did literally from 11 o'clock on. I've been working on this, and now I just missed 14 comments. Let's see. I was 117 too. Hey guys, check out the attorney's faces that sit in the gallery behind Karen. We'll have to do that. Bev would have allowed right? His Sharpie dates is I mean it. I just don't understand how it was one of the biggest cases in history, and they allowed a screenshot as evidence, right? And then they fought about other data and had witnesses and experts upon experts, and then when it comes to, hey, how can you be so sure he left it? Well, he texted me. Well, do you have the phone or the phone extraction or no? No, I got a screenshot that I printed up for you. Kind of like Higgins printing stuff up. It's almost done downloading. So what else are we missing from any of the texts? Anything?
Any of the chats?
The chats, yeah. We all right? No,
yeah, we're doing good.
We're doing all right? All right.
Yeah, I think there's only one troll in there, but that's all right.
Good. There is?
Yeah,
that's
but
awesome.
not nobody that's being rude.
Oh. I like when people disagree with me.
Absolutely.
Right. Right.
Don't forget, John, Colin was 17.
Oh, there's a comet? Is there a comet going by? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe there was a comet.
A comment about Colin being 17?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the question to you.
Oh, no, Colin was 17. All right, here's the, I want to pull this up too. So here's another thing that came from this week, right? Video file. And, nope, I don't want that. I want downloads. There it is. Okay, here's another thing. Ready? Thank you, Goody, for this one too. All right. Let's pull this up.
31, you texted "pull behind me" to John. Is that right?
Correct. I know I definitely did it when I said pull behind me because that's when the vehicle had moved up a little bit. I said pull behind me.
Do you recall whether or not your wife parked on the left side of the driveway or the right side of the driveway?
I believe it was the left, but the driveway is fairly wide. It kind of widens out, not just the two doors. So I don't know if she was right on the left where the walkway is, or if she was, one kind of more in the middle.
Yes, pulled into the driveway.
Do you recall where in relation to the driveway was that you parked when you got there?
I just remember pulling in, there was definitely a car in front of me. There possibly could have been a car to the left.
Okay, pay attention to that picture, right? The average length of those vehicles is 16 feet. I know Karen's vehicle was 16 feet. It was almost 17. Karen's vehicle is almost 17 feet long. Okay, the Caddy and the other one are 16 feet. Those small SUVs are about 16 feet, right? So if Matt and Jen were parked on the left side, because you can have it both ways. You can pick either one, however they want to. Because if you look at that picture right there, so if Matt and Jen were parked on the left side, they would have been behind those two vehicles. Okay, meaning their car would have ended at the end of the driveway, and there'd be no room for anyone to pull behind them. And for people that wanted to argue, there was people arguing. They're like, "Oh, they meant behind them at the end of the driveway." Well, if she was already where this car is right here that you see with the headlights on, right? With the kids in the pickup truck behind them, or if they want to say that Proctor's Jeep was there, if Higgins's Jeep was at the mailbox, that means she would have to back up around the Jeep to block them in at the end of the driveway. Why wouldn't she have just stayed there? So that holds no water, right? So if they're on the left side, there's no room for her to pull behind. Now, if they're on the right side, remember, Julie in the morning comes in, and Julie says she did see Jen and Matt's vehicle there because she said she saw him in the driveway. But she also said she pulled behind her nephew's vehicle. So either that's her nephew's vehicle right here at the end that they were using that night, right? Or her nephew's vehicle is missing. But Jen and Matt's vehicle never moved, okay? And if you look at Jen and Matt's vehicle on that side, if they had pulled in behind the vehicle that should have been there the night before, which would have been Brian Jr.'s, it would have been about in the same spot. And you still wouldn't have gotten a third vehicle there.
Do you know what kind of vehicle Brian Jr. was driving?
Well, one was a Ford Focus.
Focus? You mean an Edge?
Edge, a Ford Edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. One's a Ford Edge. So Karen's Lexus is 16 feet 8 inches long, almost 17 feet. That SUV would not fit at the end of the driveway. And I looked at that. You can go to Google Earth and measure that driveway. That driveway comes out to be I thought I might even have the screenshot of it. But here's another one. Here's a different view, right? There's not enough room at the end of the driveway. And again, I asked them, okay, where's Brian Jr.'s car that they were going to put the donuts in? Why didn't they ask those questions? How come they didn't ask these questions? All right. And Jen said there was a car in front of her. So, like I said, if she pulled on the left, there's a car in front of her or two. And how about this? Sarah Levinson says there was an SUV parked out at the mailbox when she looked out when she was waiting for her brother to come get her. And she looked out, there was an SUV in front of the mailbox. Well, how could that be? Because Higgins's Jeep was supposed to be in front of the mailbox.
Well, the Jeep is technically a SUV, so maybe
she was talking about
confusing it.
Karen's.
I know.
Right. Is Good married? Why is he sharing things? Yeah. Is Goody married?
I believe so.
Yeah. So so I brought that up, and they weren't happy with that stuff. Yeah, and so that was another exchange that the forensic 4 wanted to go through. But yeah, it's a 14-meter driveway, so it's a 46-foot driveway. So it's about 46 foot long. So 2 to 3 vehicles, 16 feet long, can fit into a 14-meter, about 46-foot driveway. Because they weren't right. It
kind of looks like you could tuck a car in there, but
it would be right at the edge.
Yeah, it would be overhanging probably.
But here's the thing: if Jen had parked behind those vehicles on the left, now there's no room to pull behind me.
Right.
If Jen had parked in the middle, right, there still would be another car. Yes. But once again, there's 2 vehicles behind Karen when she's texting this. So is she expecting Karen to back up around the 2 vehicles, the Jeep and the pickup truck? But both were blocking the driveway. So when you go back, so Julie Carpenter wants to do all this, and I go after this because I want to know, does Julie Carpenter still stand by Michael Proctor, right? Because here's another thing that Julie was posting about. 38,000 pages of Michael Proctor's text, all they could find was some mean words. That's what they want to go with. There's just some mean words. Right? No conspiracy, no cover-up, no frame job, nada. Nothing. And for the record, I agree with Proctor. He's entitled to protections under the 4th Amendment. Well, this is where I'm going to disagree with her. First off, I want to know, do you still stand with Proctor after what you saw on Thursday? Because that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's more coming. Right? There's way more coming. But the 4th Amendment issue, okay? The question isn't whether Proctor has rights. The question is what's in his phone and how did it get there? So go down a couple different lanes. If it's one lane, it's personal conduct. It's inappropriate. Yeah. Embarrassing. But not criminal. But if any of those images or materials came from when he was doing law enforcement work, investigating something, or a phone extraction of someone, then it's a completely different conversation, because now you're not talking about privacy. You're talking about potential victims. Now these people in his phone, they're victims. And if that second scenario is even partially true, it's no longer about protecting Proctor's rights. And it's about whether he violated other people's rights. Okay, so when Julie Carpenter is saying he deserves 4th Amendment protections, yes, but it doesn't extend to if he misused evidence, if he mishandled extracted data, or if he's passed it along to other cops that have done the same, or anything obtained. Yeah.
Sounds like Julie Carpenter is providing us with misinformation and disinformation.
We don't know yet. Right. But it sounds like, they're minimizing it. Right. But if the third one would be is if anything obtained through official phone police work. And we don't, that's the thing, we don't know yet, and we're waiting on that. And that's perhaps why it's taking so long. And probably why it's taking so long with Good. But we're waiting, and we're going to ask questions. right? And if they want to keep on saying Proctor has a Fourth Amendment right, yep, he does. Until you find out what's in there. Are they his wife's photos? Whose photos are they? That's where we're getting at. So I wonder if Julie still feels the same way with that. Pull this off. I gotta pull these down so I don't.
Whose hands do we do? Whose hands is the good situation in, as far as is it in Canton PD's hands? Is it in the state police hands?
I think it's with the town council and the union and his union lawyers. I would assume it's the human resources. But
what about Chief Daniels? Is he? I mean, I know he's coming in late, but
it's outside. Oh well, we're going to bring that up. It was brought up in the interview with the Canton Cable.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So back to Proctor though. The Fourth Amendment protects people from unreasonable search and seizures. It does not shield someone from scrutiny if the evidence was lawfully obtained, especially in the course of an investigation or an internal review. So, so people keep asking if this is about protecting one investigator or are they trying to protect something bigger. Just think about the agency. They don't think about just the individuals. They think about their liability, their exposure, and the president. And I want to say if there were materials on that phone tied to his work, you're looking at, like I said, chain of custody questions, civil liability, privacy violations. And if he's texting that out to multiple people, and it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a spider web going out there trying to find, what was he sharing and to who?
And that's the other big question is to who? Was his supervisors part of that text thread?
So we don't have proof we don't have proof that that's happening. I'm just saying if there's two routes, maybe they're old girlfriends, maybe they're just I don't know, just pictures of someone. I don't know, his gumas. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that's one way. The other one would be is if they're now victims, because they'd be victims. So yeah. Yep. What else did we have going on? We had so that whole email dump on Friday. Yeah, I think it's more.
John, you want to get Gary up to speed?
No. Gary, I have internet issues. I have internet issues. I had like probably 20 videos to show, and I probably only showed 6 or 7 of them. We just getting to the email version. We're almost done, and we're going to try to get into some of the police chief. Actually, J45, we're actually doing okay. We're going to get into some of the police chief's interview with Canton Cable. You said emails. Oh, I said emails, Eric, right?
Yeah.
There was an email campaign. April. Let's go to April. There was an email campaign. All right. Let's pull this one up first. And it was of Courtney Proctor was asking people for help. Right. As you know, I heard in the news, my brother is under an internal affairs investigation with Mass State Police over the misuse of his personal text messages. We've learned the state police is potentially going to impose the most severe type of punishment, which is termination. His 10-year career. So she's trying to help push an email campaign to the governor and the colonel, the state police, ahead of his internal investigation review, right? And then she's like, please help by writing emails. And so these all got turned over in this huge email dump. And who else wrote stuff? Well, Kerry wrote an email to Morrissey. She wrote a 2-pager. She did a 2-page to Morrissey, And there's Kerry's. And she hopes that he's well. She's writing to bring immediate attention to the matter concern, on and on. She's a citizen of Canton, a witness in this case, as well as a friend of the O'Keefe's. She's disgusted at the lack of intervention on behalf of the victim's family, law enforcement officers. Where it concerns Proctor is when we get to the second page, and I'm doing this on the fly. Kerry, page 2. Let's open up Kerry, page 2. This one is page 2. And she said the wrongful termination of Michael Proctor and the senseless investigation of John Fanning, Brian Tully, Yuri directly compromises the retrial of Commonwealth Karen Reed, undermining the district attorney's case. So again, wrongful termination of Michael Proctor. We still don't even know what was in the phone because they're protecting it that much.
Yeah,
And
well,
they
John,
still-
regardless of what's in the phone, we all saw the investigation that was conducted. And my thing is, why aren't these defendants, House defendants, not defendants, who are witnesses, why aren't they upset with the investigation that was conducted versus trying to protect the law enforcement?
They're mad at us for continue to bring that up. We continue to bring that up, and they're mad at us for that. They're like, now
what,
you
that
guys
they
are
should be
trying
upset that law
We've been-
enforcement didn't do a good job? They should be screaming at the top of their lungs.
We've been saying that all along.
Yep.
It appears the state Proctor was fired in a landslide. Yeah, he was. And yeah, his lawyers left him, and the McAlbers won't take the stand, help defend Paul O'Keefe. But for themselves, they'll do anything for So so let me pull up, because I want to. I'm skipping over a bunch of things, but it is what it is. We have the stuff on the chief, but this happened literally 20 minutes before we came on, and I want to pull this up because this is what they had to say about Lucky. And let's hear the
Lucky ended up going along with what Karen.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Lucky ended up going along with what Karen wanted from him.
Did you hear that? Let me play that again.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
Lucky ended up going along with what Karen wanted from him.
He told the truth. We had him on the show. I've talked to him many times. I've talked to him today. Okay? He told the truth. He didn't go along with what Karen wanted him to say. He said what he saw.
He didn't even know Karen Reed.
He didn't.
This is about Lucky, and it is about Aiden wiretapping Lucky.
So this is Aiden to Meg, and he says, yes, her attorneys have it. And she says,
okay, so the attorney...
Perfect. They must love you. And he says, they said it's the biggest bombshell yet. They already have this all in writing from Lucky.
They already have it all in writing from Lucky. So not only did he testify in 2 trials, he put a pen to the paper and he told the truth.
Never wavered.
There you go. No, Jen's not. Yeah. Karen wanted the truth and Lucky provided it. There you go. There you go. Hey, like I said, I watch it so you guys don't have to. All right. Even at 5:30 when I'm trying to prepare for the show, and I ended up watching it and pulling this down instead of loading the stuff into StreamYard, which I was supposed to be doing.
But he stood them up after the Alberts got to him. They were worried about him recanting, Now, if he does, they have this. And then he says, first of all, I'd take a charge over this.
And so, Karen had tried to put this out there that, the Alberts got to him, and they were, the Alberts were just, I don't know, intimidating all these people.
They weren't calling people. They weren't calling people's jobs. They didn't have relatives or family friends calling people or calling people's jobs. No.
What they point to is actually Chris Albert sending his condolences to Lucky for his wife passing away, which is a kind thing to do, which is a nice thing that you would do for somebody that you've known that long. Lucky had worked for him at one point. But of course they twist it into something completely different. He says to Meg, listen to this. And so she replies, wow. And he seems like an honest, simple man and is certain of.
He's the most honest. He sat there. All right. People seem to forget he had just recently lost his wife and he was dealing with that. Okay. Oh, you muted again, Eric. Oh, that's because you're coughing.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No, that's all right.
Still trying to get over the cold.
Yeah, well, that's why one of the four was missing over there too. I think she had something. But Lucky has never been anything but a very simple, honest person.
He's a good man.
What he saw. So he saw a Ford Edge out front,
there you go,
shielding to hide the body placement later, but probably thinks it wasn't BA's car because. Okay, so they know what he saw, and then they're just adding. I mean, or they're saying what? Let's go back because this is the person. I don't know if this is Aiden saying this. Let me see. Shielding to hide.
Go back a little bit more here.
Of what he saw. So he saw a Ford Edge out front, shielding to hide the body placement later, but probably thinks it wasn't BA's car because someone told him so. That's a question she's asking. And so he comes back and he says, yup, how damning is that tape? Okay.
So what they're saying, Lucky testified he knew there was a Ford Edge parked right there. Remember, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you call it in? Because it was the Alberts. I'm friendly with them. We grew up in Canton, and I didn't want it towed. There's no reason to have them towed, so I went around. I was giving them a courtesy, right? Some of the rest was just their take on it, right? So there you go, right there, same thing. Didn't report it as a courtesy to the Alberts, who he respected them. He worked at the pizza shop. Why is he going to make things hard for them? He just went around them.
Yeah, and
the snow hadn't fallen enough yet.
That
Right.
road is not a main drag. It's a side road, and it's not going to see a lot of vehicles.
And I don't speak for him, but I will defend him. And I'm sure if there was a car out in the driveway, out in the street, there was probably other vehicles in the driveway. And he's like, oh, they're all, house is probably lit up and people are there and they're having a blizzard party. I'll go around it. It'll be gone.
Yeah, and at
be gone by my next
at
pass.
that hour, there really wasn't much snow on the ground.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Or I'm going to call it in, and then they're going to give him shit the next day. What the hell? What, you couldn't go around it? You couldn't go around? What, just mind your own business. Plow the road there, plow guy. That you're going to get that. Let's finish their stuff.
So that's the tape he's referring to of when he recorded Lucky. So she comes back and she says that alone should exonerate Karen. He seems to have been manipulated into thinking he can't speak. At least he hasn't changed his statement or said he doesn't remember.
Oh no, he's been solid. Still is today.
There you go. Absolutely solid. Solid. So
think of it this way, John. I mean, obviously the edge was there. There's no reason for Lucky to put an edge there at that hour for no apparent reason.
for no reason. So again, so he says what he saw, and then let's go back to the beginning.
Lucky ended up going along with what Karen wanted from him.
Okay. They want to try to frame it as they found Lucky and got Lucky to say whatever they want him to say, which is completely flipped from what happened. Lucky said what he saw. So that just happened like 15 minutes before we went. What came on tonight, and that I ended up watching that, and
you were fast enough to get a clip for the show.
I got a clip for the show. So now let me pull up Canton Cable here. Let's get into.
Yeah, I haven't seen this yet, so this will be
Can you hear me?
This will be good. Yeah, we can hear.
Okay. Well, I just hit my wire, so it's one of those nights. I'm rushing everything here. I'll type lefty. Cable access. I can't hear any TV. Okay. I want to give them a huge plug. These people are amazing, because they cover the meetings, the Canton Town meeting, committee meetings. They have the student station that does all the sports. They covered the hockey games, everything up at Town Hall. They covered the Karen Reed stuff. They covered court stuff. They are literally the community station for the town. Let me see if I can find.
And John, I heard today that when the civil trial happens, they'll be covering that too.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Well, here we go. Video on demand. You can go back, so you guys can go in. They have a couple new videos up. They have the boys hockey coach Brian Schumann. That just came up. They have the Canton Public Library has those little coffee houses, and they have the different bands, musicians come in. They had that up. The girls lacrosse is up against Braintree. That was from April 17th, day before my birthday. So here it is. So they have a video up to speed with the Canton police chief, and let's see if I can share it. Well, I got my headphones on, so that's good. So it's not going to echo on us. It'll probably, hopefully it won't pause too much. Share screen. This one? Let's try this. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Now I gotta get it. I gotta remember how to get it. Give me a minute. I can't remember. How do I? Oh, let's see.
Getting closer.
I'm getting closer. Oh,
look at that. Yeah, do it.
What?
Do it.
What?
No, one over. That
This one?
There you go.
Yeah, but then I can't get back to. Is that still? No. I can't remember. I can't believe this. This is. Don't worry, you're at Hilton Head. Don't worry, you're late because I'm having a brain cramp on. Is it still large?
It was for a second there. We had no volume though.
You have no volume?
Not on that. I have a review, yes, but not of the interview.
Oh, hold on. Let's try this again. Wait a minute. You're gonna have to bear with me. We're having technical difficulties. Can you hear it now?
No.
No. All right. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's do this. Can't Gale.
In the meantime.
Yeah.
Careful. Once you have had a Pricks Insider, you will want it all night.
How you doing, John? You almost there?
Uh-huh. I'm trying. It just won't let me I can't get it to, let me see. And I usually do this for the share screen. Share screen. I got the audio on. Up the speed. And then share. But if I do that, can you tell me, can you hear it now? Can you hear it?
Yes, now I can hear it.
Ah.
There you go.
Hello, I'm Andrea at Community Television.
I don't know how to
joining me is the
maximize
new
that
police
without.
Chief Michael Daniels. Thank you for
I
being
can't
on
maximize
Community
it without
Television.
leaving StreamYard. And then I can't. Yeah.
First, could you
So-
tell us a little bit about yourself, Chief? And,
So we're gonna have to do that so I can move the
Yeah,
cursor.
so
I'm gonna let this play for a
before
minute
I came
while
to
I
Canton, I started, I guess,
while I
my
run to grab another
origin
site.
story
So
in Brooklyn,
Eric,
New York.
you're in charge
I
for a
lived there
minute.
until I was about 8, and my parents at the time, we, you know, where we lived, there was a lot of crime, and obviously, as parents, you want your children to be brought up in a safe community. So we ended up moving up to Westboro, Massachusetts, to stay with my cousin, and we were there for a little while. Then we moved to Upton, spent very little time there, and then we moved to Clinton, Massachusetts, which is a smaller community. I was there till I was probably in the 8th grade, and then from there I moved back to Westboro, went to Westboro schools. I graduated in '95. And obviously, all my entire life, I've always wanted to be a police officer, and specifically a police chief. Yeah. So very early on, I knew that was going to be my path. When I graduated high school, I went on to college, and while I was attending college, I was able to work as a dispatcher with Westboro. So worked there for about 3 years, saved up enough money to send myself to the full-time police academy. At the time, you know.
So that's interesting. You were a dispatcher in Westboro while you were in college.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of experience knowing what the calls that were coming in that area.
Yeah. No, it was good. It kind of helped build my foundation.
Yes.
You know, but while I was attending school, I would work the overnight shift, so midnight to 8, and then after that, I'd drive into school. And that's pretty much how I did things for a while until I was able to save up enough to sponsor myself through the academy. And at the time, Westboro wasn't civil service. So I went to the academy, was there for 6 months. When I got out, I got hired immediately by Bentley University as a campus police officer in Waltham.
Oh, yeah.
So I was there for a short time. Then I moved on to Bolton Police Department. I was there for a short time, and I moved and went back to Westboro, where I spent the majority of my career. So I went through pretty much every rank from dispatch all the way up. I didn't make deputy chief. My tenure there, I ended up being the administrative lieutenant.
In Bolton?
No, in Westboro.
Oh, in Westboro.
Yeah. So I spent probably about close to 26 years, 23 years, I think, there. Was in charge of accreditation, policies and procedures, was a public information officer, a records access officer. And I think at that time, I owe a lot to Westboro because it really put me in a position where I felt confident enough to become a chief. And then I saw a job opening with Oxford. I went over to Oxford. We did some good things there. And then, you know, obviously I was, you know, this opportunity came up not once, but twice. And I moved toward it. So that's how I got here in front of you.
Let's talk about the communities of
Sure.
Westboro and Oxborough.
Oxford.
Oxford.
That's okay.
Are they similar to Canton
So,
or not really?
I'm going to
No,
move this a little
Westboro's
further in,
very
closer
similar.
to
They're almost
where he gets to
identical.
Canton.
Oh, okay.
The demographic, that's from South America,
Okay.
right? So obviously those things would poison your mind, and he felt it was better to educate yourself. So,
Wow.
get the staffing levels up so that you and,
Hold on.
we're supposed to be, I think, complete.
Almost there.
Watch a whole lot of TV. I was only a lot.
Needs.
Mhm.
Okay,
How many
here we go.
officers do you currently have, and how many do you need?
So I think we're about at 36. We're supposed to be, I think, complete total from administrative staff to civilians. We should be close to 51. Right now, we're down about 9 officers. We're having major difficulty bringing people in. And this, I don't want to say it's just Canton, because it really isn't. I mean, if you look at law enforcement across the country, there's, staffing shortages all over, which has caused law enforcement to kind of really, figure out how they're going to recruit and hire people. So sometimes that results in, creating different opportunities within an agency to attract people to come. But we're also here in particular with Canton, obviously some of the national attention that we've received is obviously detrimental to that. When people have options to go elsewhere, they're going to go elsewhere,
John, you're muted.
I muted myself after you muted me. Where he says, someone's asking him, does he trust his officers? Yes, he does. And he's going to get into that. He will talk about his officers. He's going to talk about, there's going to be, it's a very good interview, and he is very knowledgeable about the town. He did his research about the town. He's going to say some things that some people didn't like or don't agree with. But you know what? It's very refreshing on how he puts himself out there. He has been at the middle school. We're going to see a lot more. So you know what? He really comes across as very, very knowledgeable, and has a great plan for the town. So we'll keep going.
It is what it is. So, I see my role and my job as the chief of Canton PD, and your chief is to, get the staffing levels up so that you and, the citizens of the community can receive the services that they deserve, right?
So you talk about not needing 9 officers, but 51 in total. So you kind of lumped it into administrators.
Yeah.
Can you differentiate between what the needs are?
So a police department this size, you have to have a command staff that supports I would say the line level, which is the operational portion of the agency, which consists mostly of the people that do the work at the ground level. When I say do the work, I'm talking about those are the people that have contact with the citizens of the community. So right now, what we're seeing, and typically on a given shift, like I'll take for example today, I have a desk sergeant who oversees the communications center, and then we have another officer that's on the desk that helps to dispatch and sends officers out on calls. We have 4 sectors or 3 sectors that are within the community, but typically we should be running about 5 or 6 officers on a shift. But when you take 2 of those people off the road and you put them inside the building, then you're really left with 4, and sometimes maybe even 3, right?
So that was my question about dispatch. Should officers be running the dispatch, or should it be left to a staff person, someone like a college student like you, that when you were growing up? What should be done about that?
So, there's different solutions. I think, obviously hiring civilians to occupy that, to me, that's a profession on its own. And I want to be very clear. The role now is very different from when it was when I was doing it, right?
Okay.
There's more that you have to be accountable for. You're dispatching. When I started, I was just strictly receiving, police calls and sending them out And then if a fire call came in or EMS call came in, I would transfer that, right? But that causes a delay in response, right? So you have that, but now you have to be certified. You have to be trained before you used to be able to, they would just take somebody off the street and say, okay, you're going to sit the desk, we'll train you for 2 weeks, and then you're answering phones and stuff. But now you have to, it's just like being a police officer. It's a profession. You have to be trained and certified.
So should it be regional? And what would that look like?
So, yeah, you jumped ahead a little bit.
So I agree with what he's saying there, because what it does is it takes an officer off the desk and allows him to be out in the field.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lady from Avon that's, and especially with the staffing. Now he's going to get into the more of the issues to why Canton is having some issues with the staffing, even though it is across the board. And like I said, some people aren't going to like this. So let me move ahead a little bit on this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. For regional communication, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
We have a reactive agency. They're reacting to crime. So in other words, there's one of the major issues that I get are people call me about traffic enforcement, right, through the community. You have a supervisor supervise the officers out on the street and take that officer that's in there and put them out. That creates the proactivity, right? So, and then you have to account for, vacation, all those things that people take off, and you have to backfill those positions.
Right. So let's talk about positions. You just recently hired a new deputy chief in town, and he was presented at the select board meeting. Yeah. Can you tell me about him and that hire?
Yeah. So in the reading, and I know we're going to go into this a little bit later, we talked about the audit report. When I looked at the audit report, there were a lot of things that I saw, and I'm not going to say, I thought the audit report was done really well, but I think there were some areas that were definitely missed. And those were things that I was able to see because of my background, right? So my background's in accreditation, policy, research, and analysis. I'm a civil rights officer. So I have a lot of things, regulatory things in my background that are helpful to me in seeing how what best practice looks like, right? So when I went to Oxford was very similar to Canton without the national attention, where they had a lot of things that were inefficient, things that weren't being done correctly or in the spirit of best practice, that could potentially become liability. So
I do want to talk about the audit report.
Sure.
Yeah, but continue, please. Sorry.
So when I went to Oxford, because it was smaller, it was more manageable for just me to kind of get things going and identifying some of the issues there and fixing them. During that process, Deputy Chief Gifford Cruz was a member of the Oxford Police Department. He had about 14 years on. And in getting to know him, I actually found out that he was, he's managed, working in Oxford, my observation of him was working in Oxford to him was too small.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because he had overseen 350 people on a naval warship.
Oh, wow.
Right. So he's a Navy veteran. So his job was hiring, recruiting, right, and training. So, and he's
all the things.
Hiring, recruiting, right? So he said we need 9. And I think what he's going to do is he's going to have this guy here recruit your whole new corps of the Canton Police Department. Eric?
Yeah, they got their work cut out for him. It's not going to happen overnight, but they have a plan.
Yeah. I want to try to put this on a faster speed too. I just have to. Because I did it earlier. I know I did it. I did it earlier. Just don't. no way I can find it this time. But I had it playing because it was. I know we can't get through the full hour, but so we'll just keep going.
Canton needs right now.
Right. So that was, that was one of the reasons why I tapped him for this job. He worked as my operations lieutenant, and not to say that people at the Canton PD can't do the job, but being an outsider, I have a different set of eyes, and I know where there might be flaws and things that need to be fixed. And this gentleman he helped me architect what we did in Oxford. And those are things that have helped Oxford. Oxford is a very professional, not saying Canton's not professional, but it's a high performing department because we were able to work together with the command staff there and build some of the things that need to be put in place so that best practices are practiced.
Okay. So he's a new full-time hire?
Yep. So he started, I believe it was yesterday. I haven't really had a chance to connect with him because he's been, doing a lot of administrative work at the town hall.
Here's where we get into the
getting
audit.
everything set up. So it's going to take him a while to get ramped up. But I also have Deputy Chief Patty Sherrill, who's also going to be training him. So I'm confident he'll get up to speed relatively quick, and then we can, start, we can start helping things move along for the PD.
Okay, so let's talk about the audit now.
Sure.
You touched upon it.
Yeah.
But Five Stones Intelligence was hired to do an audit of the police station. Their results came back in April of 2025. Yeah. And they had, a tremendous amount of recommendations, and we can go through them.
Sure.
But did you agree with their findings?
So I'll say this. So I would say that and this is me as an external person coming from where I came from and the background that I came from, I would say 99.5% of what they found was, and this is with the understanding that they were reduced. So the scope that they could look was dictated by the town.
Right there. Do you get that part? Eric, unmute.
Yeah, I got that part.
Okay.
I'd like
it was reduced. Yeah. What?
But, define the town. When he says it was, I want to know. I want to know what he means by the town. Was it the?
Well, it was what they was. No, it was the committee. It's what the committee came up with.
But the committee came up with 25 years.
No, they didn't. It was a reduced. They remember it was very limited in scope. So the scope that he's going to tell you is there was no corruption. This is the one part where I am going to disagree with him because I honestly think that the cover up of the dead dog is corruption. But I mean, that's just going to be our own disagreement. But let me back it up 10 seconds. In here,
person coming from where I came from and the background that I came from, I would say 99.5% of what they found was, and this is with the understanding that they were reduced. So the scope that they could look was dictated by the town, right? So they said, we want you to look at these things, right? So they looked at those things. But to me, when I look at a situation, I look at systemic things, right? And sometimes if you're just doing an overview and you're focused on individual things, you don't get the full feel of things. And I also have the advantage of working with these guys and girls every day and observing. I sit back. So I have 3 things that I do. And
so wait, since you've been to Canton, you've been observing how things are run?
Yep. So, obviously I knew I did my homework. I knew all the issues that were going on. I watched all the selectmen meetings going back years. So I got a good feel for, and a lot of people don't know that. They think I'm coming into town and not really understanding the gravity of what's here. But
wonder how many meetings he went through of the select board meetings. Could you imagine that's his homework, that he's going to go through select board after every Tuesday night's meeting? I get it. He's not going to do the whole meeting. He's going to do the public speaking, He's going to do the meetings in which Helena was there. He's going to do the meetings that they discussed anything to do with the Canton, the audit, the meetings all about the audit. I'm sure he'll fast forward through like some of the other one. And yeah, he probably watches it on double speed, which I can't. It's pissing me off that I can't find the double speed this time when I'm, and it's probably because I'm already sharing it. I probably should have had it on double speed before I shared it. But, so, yeah.
Well, let him speak.
Yeah. Well, the reality is the union runs the police now. Well, there's a strong union.
You know, before I take on any task, I do immense research, and I look at ways that I can fix things. So, you know, relative to this report, when I was going to, when I applied for the job, we were asked to do a written assignment, which I would so badly want people to see, because they will be confident that if they looked at my written assignment and they looked at the audit report and you put those two things together, I think a lot of people would not feel that, because I know there's a segment of the community that feels, well, you know, you didn't find corruption, or you didn't find this, or you didn't find that. And I can tell you there isn't corruption. I can say that definitively and with confidence. What I will tell you is that the things that, and these are things that I'm looking at now, there are things that need to be done a lot better, right? There needs to be efficiency in a lot of areas. And I've already gathered my command staff. We had a command staff meeting, I believe last week. And I'm starting to realign some of these things. So when I came in, I always handle things in 3 phases. If you're going to implement change, the first thing you should do as a chief is you come in and you observe, right? You don't make any changes right away, because, you know, you don't want to give the perception that you're going to make change for the sake of change or political pressure, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I came in, and I was supposed to stay in that phase. For 3 months,
observation phase.
But there are things that I see that
needed change right away.
I can say, yep, this is emergent. I gotta get out of that mode. And so I watch how officers respond to calls, the timeliness of how they respond to calls. I review all reports, and I've been doing that since I've been a chief. Even when I was a lieutenant, or even a detective, I review reports and I look at how officers write reports. What things are they looking at? You know, simple things like, how is this form filled out? Are there task lists for certain things? One of my favorite books is Checklist Manifesto. And remember how I told you about my dad, how he would create checklists, right? Yeah. What happens is that, you know, things become so routine, right? And I know this probably resonates with you. Sure. When you're accustomed to doing something over and over again, if it becomes complex, you sometimes forget the things that are rote, right? Because as soon as complexity is put into the situation, everything goes out the window. And then now you're trying to figure out how things, and unless you're trained appropriately, you're not going to be able to adapt. And so there's a lot of that, what I see right now in Canton.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. You know, it was discussed that we have, or the Canton Police Department has, you know, great instructions. It's the follow through that there were issues with, like the crime scene protocols. It was, you know, Five Stones talked about, you know, that our police force has a lack of training because we don't have murders in Canton every day. But can you just discuss like that type of training, what our police officers need if they do, you know, if they are on a call, such as, you know, what's happened?
Okay, so I'll give you a brief overview of some of the things, because I've made the promise that I will, in a public forum, discuss this in greater detail, but I'm gonna talk about some of, you know, give you a brief overview of how, you know, this study versus what I'm seeing comes into play. Now, I'll always say this, and you probably heard me say this if you watched my interview. If my officers are not performing to a satisfactory level, that's a problem with leadership, right? And I'm not, you know, saying anything about my predecessors or anything. This is how I feel, right?
Okay,
this is my experience, right? And it's not the fault of the officers if I'm not holding people to a specific standard when they do things, right? If I'm not giving them the training, if I'm not giving them the tools, right? A lot of times, especially with specialized units, there's always, you know, this false narrative, I would say, where, because people, they watch TV and they think that things get solved like this and things are obvious. And that's not always the case.
I just want to stop him. I just want to stop him right there. So I do see a lot of the chat. I'm watching the chat because I had already watched this once. Guys, you have to remember, he's coming in after the fact. Everything that you see in the chat, I see too, right? There was an interim chief, and now there's this chief, and he can only move it forward. He can't go back and change how they did certain things. He can now tell them how to write reports. He's not going to tell you that a report was written wrong before. He is telling you that there's issues with the reports, right? We saw it with the Karen Reed report, where they added to a report a picture that the Mass State Police took, and they put it into their report as if it was theirs, when we know they didn't find any tail light. So he can only tell you everything that he's researched and moved forward with. And mind you, a lot of the players aren't there anymore. He now has a very young squad. And correct, Thomas. He's working within the system, moving forward with a lot of young officers. The majority of the officers, the Gallagher's gone, the DG and Petro gone, Helena gone, Berkey gone, Eric Wade gone. They're all gone, right? Good gone, bad, good gone, bad. They're all gone. So now he's just trying to rebuild the department out of the ashes. So yeah. So
and he hasn't been chief for that long, so there's going to be a long process to this,
right? So you have to give him the benefit of the doubt of where he's looking at some of these newer officers that had nothing to do. None of them, a lot of them, were not. Oh, you entered the studio. A lot of them were not in. They weren't there that day. That they weren't on duty. They weren't in the station. Dever gone. Right? They're all gone. I know Kevin Albus not gone. I know Lank's not gone. And but he brought in his deputy chief, and he said why. He said what his strengths are, because that's what he needed. All right. So yeah. That's just my take on it. I mean, I'm just reading the chat and I see it, and trust me, that used to be me too. That was me yelling at all the stuff for the last couple of years. But
well, I think what he gives us is a real sense that there are fresh eyes in that department to, improve things, make things better. I mean, we obviously haven't been convinced that it was a solid, well-oiled police, and now we're getting little tidbits, but it's just the process is gonna only improve over time.
Let me fast forward. Let's get to the good stuff. Good stuff. The good GOODE stuff. Let me see if this is where it's at.
We touched upon the proper chain of command.
Sure.
But like when someone files a complaint, how is that processed? And we'll go from there.
Yeah. So sometimes people think that, and this has happened to me very recently, they have a complaint.
That's all right. This is just basically, we've already heard it. And that came through Five Stones. You don't call the chief anymore. You don't call your buddy. You go through the proper channels so that he doesn't become a witness. Hold on. Move it up. Let's try that.
There is the person that then speaks to all the witnesses.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Exhibits, right, to an overall document, and it's usually pretty lengthy. And then what happens is after that, there's a summary that's produced. And then once the summary is produced, it gets kicked back up to our Deputy Chief of Administration, who analyzes it for policy violations. Once the Deputy Chief looks at it and brings it to me, says,
this is still
Chief,
talking
here
about people
are
that
the
called
policy
the station
violations.
on
Here's
somebody
my recommendation.
coming up.
I review it. I look at it, make a determination, and then I determine whether someone's going to get a suspension, do they need retraining, or whatever discipline they need.
Okay, so this is the protocol now. This
Sure.
is what you'll be doing at this point. But in previous years, people would just call the chief or would just call their police officer friend. And
that's a thing of the past.
And that's where the
Moving
audit
forward.
came into play.
Mhm.
Learned that, police officers were using their own cell phones,
Mhm.
their personal cell phones. And that's changed. Can you talk about those
Oh, yeah.
changes that have been implemented?
So I'll tell you from personal experience. I worked as a detective in Westboro, and it wasn't until the new chief came in, Jeff Laurie, who happens to be, you'll hear me talk about him a lot. He happens to be my mentor. He's the chief of police over in Falmouth. There was a law that came out where officers were taking pictures of people at accident scenes and then sending them, all over the place. And, those officers lost their jobs over that. But because of that, the chief at the time had said, listen, you shouldn't be using your personal cell phone for anything work related, right? When you're at work, you use your work cell phone. If you have to take a picture, you take pictures with your work cell phone.
And we saw from the Karen Reed case that they were using their own iPhones. We saw that's why there was issues with the chain of command. And immediately he's even going to tell you, I think it's Perkins that changes this. It's not even him.
Right. So we know where things go, we can track it, we monitor it. And that's part of what the study found. Prior to my arrival here, all officers from the top to bottom all have work cell phones that are monitored by, our IT department, right? And they're locked down. So that was a part of the study. So I think, that's been resolved. So we all.
And when he says IT department, he just means Lewis. Lewis.
Including myself. I've always had one.
So what is the procedure? You come on duty and you're given a department cell phone, or you always have the same one?
Each officer is assigned a cell phone, and I think that's a great move. For me, I live and die by my phone because I don't sleep very well because I'm always waiting for the phone to ring. And I'm not saying that the officers have to do that, but if they're going to do anything business related, it should be on a business phone.
Okay, so they have department issued phones that they keep with them at all times.
Right.
Great. I want to circle back to the internal affairs
Here we
process.
go with Goody.
We did discuss it. Is there a length of time that investigations are supposed to take place? I'm thinking, in recent news, Canton police officer Sean Good has been on administrative leave due to an internal affairs investigation.
Sure.
And it's been 6 months. Is that normal?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It depends on, so typically
That's
if you're
wishy-washy.
talking about, someone, you walked into the police station, this morning and you wanted to file a complaint against a particular officer, that could take, up to 30 days, right? Because you're talking about an IA investigator, interviewing, all the people involved. I've seen internal affairs investigations last a year. I've seen them last 2 years. It just depends on the level of involvement. You could have 30 people that you have to interview, right? And even the most basic investigation, outside of internal affairs, you have to, obviously you have to make sure that there's due process. You're following, everything that you need to follow, because, at the end of the day, you don't want it to come back on the department. But beyond that,
and it does have to do with personal cell phone.
Here's my take on that too. And right here, he's on paid leave. It's over half a year now, right? We're going into 7 months. And he said that some of them take over a year. All right. So are we, and you look at the other case, you look at the Karen Reed civil case, they're trying to get the information and the town won't give it up. And at some point, how bad is this, or how big is what's going on with Good that it's going to take another 6 months for them to go through?
Well, we don't know how long it's going to take, John, and we won't know until we know.
And he's going to get to it. It's an outside agency that is doing all of the investigation.
Does he? Well, we'll probably get to it, but does he mention who the outside agency is?
No. I mean, he chooses his words carefully. We're going to keep going.
Use.
Yeah, it could be. So one of the, obviously that, I think that happened in October. He still is an employee here, and I'm not in a position to really go any further than that. But as far as investigations are concerned, to answer your question, sometimes they could take a long period of time. But that's because, it's just like anything else. There's a demand for due process. We've seen certain cases last for 3 years, 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, there's, other litigation. So that's just the way it is.
Now, the Canton Police Department is investigating Sean Good, or is it an outside element too?
Yes. So those are things that occur outside.
Oh, okay. Outside
there you go.
Canton.
And that's
the way it should be.
Outside
Probably.
agency.
Yeah. So let's talk about the radios. The radios that they have.
I'm going to
in
read
our
through this
prior meeting.
I'll kind of update you on the radio part. Their radios. There's dead areas in town that it came up in the audit, and so they have to fix. By putting antennas up or upgrading the radios. Let's go to we go 42. Some of the officers don't feel safe because there's glitches in the system pretty much. Then they get into the floor camera. We really don't. I mean, if you guys want me to keep playing straight through, I can. But he gets into some of the floor camera stuff. But we get into the other stuff that I want to talk about is the social media and the special treatment and the chaos that he wants to talk about. And he actually does talk about the protests in front of the station. So if you guys are up to skipping over like the floor camera stuff, we can get to where he talks about
let's get to the meat, John.
Yeah, well, yeah. So we can let's just get right past the let's get to 53. Let's see where this is at.
Yeah.
When they see the camera,
Far camera still. All right, hold on.
Went through here, and it gives us a lead on.
Good thing I wrote these down, huh?
That's what information you're looking for.
Right.
Then it also, you have to put in.
All right. Yeah.
And there's been problems in Canton.
Yeah.
We're still feeling that.
Sure.
Through the police and truth and transparency.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about social media.
Mm-hmm.
Let's switch the topic here, and the effect it's had on the police department.
Sure.
It was mentioned in the Five Stones intelligence report. And what's your take on it?
So the report itself, you know, and this is interesting because when I did my written assignment, because I logged on to the town's, the police department's Facebook page to see what the comments were and things like that. And I noticed that there was nothing that you could see or whatever. It was all blocked. Now, I agree with that method, right? I agree with that. When I say I agree, given what the department and the town has been through,
yeah,
I don't think exacerbating a problem is a solution, right?
Believe it or not, I also agree with him in this as one of the people that would be making comments under different posts, right? At some point, a department has to realize, hey, listen, no matter what we post out there, we're going to get the trolls because we're right in the middle of it all. And you're in a no-win situation. They're trying to show all the other things that are going on in town, right? Hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. And we are continuing to let them know what they did wrong somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's like, at some point, you know, there has to be a cooling off period in which they can still put out information to people without getting bombarded. Yeah, I'm a rabble rouser. There you go. So as much as I'm one of those people that want to scream from my bullhorn, I'm agreeing with him that the shutting off of comments on posts is basically, hey, they're putting information. It's not like they're putting out, hey, we're going to be, we have a dunk tank in front of the police station. Come on down. No, they're letting you know that there was an accident or the street's going to be closed or this or that. That doesn't need everybody to chime in. And that was, yeah. And you're right. It's not going to happen for years, but you got to start somewhere. It's a whole new station with the exception of a couple people, but you got to rebuild the station. Right, Eric?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
There's plenty of places to go comment. They're fine turning off their comments.
Yeah. And so far, and that's good. There's only 27 minutes left, which is good. The flat cameras took up a bunch, but I agree with 99% of what he stands for.
Well, it sounds like he's got a common sense approach.
Yeah, here we go.
You're not going to cause people to come together if you're constantly ridiculing things. It could be, I mean, I could sit here and give people puppies on social media, and then you have that one person that is like, I hate puppies, because they hate Canton PD, right? That's not what we're trying to do.
I don't think you should have used.
I do agree with that. I also think social media can be used in a good way.
Tim Taylor,
but we've had struggles with it.
Yes.
One of the things, and I'll bring up two examples because there's always narratives in these things, and people don't understand the motivations behind these narratives. And I'll give you two examples that I'd like to talk about. The first one was the night of my my appointment, when the Board of Selectmen were voting on who they were going to select as a police chief.
Mm-hmm.
If you looked at that, there were many officers in the back.
There were along the back wall.
They were all in the back, and when there was a brief period where this is the other thing too, I had no idea what was going to happen. I thought a decision wasn't going to be made until a day or two later. I would find out the next day. But as I was walking out, our HR director said, hold on a second, there's going to be a decision made tonight. And she put me in a room and sequestered me.
Oh.
There's a reason for that. It's because it wasn't even close. He was hands down. He was the NHL to Canton Youth Hockey. It was not even close. And that's why they said, so yes, he probably was thinking, they're going to go do, think about it and come back next week. There was no thinking about it. That's how close it was. Or how far away it was, I should say.
Okay.
So But the officers that were present there, they had no idea if they needed to stick around or what was going on, and then they ended up leaving.
Right.
Right. So then when you go on social media, you start seeing, and I'm going to be genuine here. It's they don't like him because he's black. They don't like him because he's this. He's going to clean house. He's going to do this. And they're disrespecting him. Right.
Because they left.
And that's not the reason. And I'm going to tell you, the other thing is a lot of those people called me. I came into the station 2 weeks later, and I had a sergeant come to me, and he goes, listen, we are so sorry about that. We weren't trying to disrespect you or and I said, listen, you don't have to explain to me. I know what the intentions were. I said, I was in the same situation you guys were years ago, where a new chief came in. I didn't even show up. And it wasn't because I didn't like the guy or because I wanted the internal guy. It was just because I didn't want to go.
So you are feeling welcomed within the station.
Oh my Lord. This is the thing that I feel bad for these guys.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get emotional.
Trying to hold it together.
I feel bad, and I feel bad because they're working hard for this community, and I see that, but the people don't. There's two groups, and I don't know what it is. So I feel bad for the people in the community that are. I had an officer just tell me the other day.
Okay.
He said, in this particular neighborhood that he lives in, there's other people that live there. They always used to have gatherings and get-togethers, right, with their neighbors, right? And so this is what I see in Canton, right? This is what I see, and this is from an officer.
Yeah.
We'd have gatherings. There'd be, someone would have a barbecue
like
at their
a block
house.
party or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We would go and do that, and that doesn't exist anymore because I'm associated with Canton PD, or I had a role in something that I did the best that I could on.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's to me, that's an awful feeling to have coming into work every day for people that sometimes they don't want to see the other side. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm sorry.
No, it's understandable. You're objective. You're new to the town, and there's a divide a little bit.
We've seen more from a select board member last meeting and a chief who's given a little more than an hour interview here, and he'll get into other things that he's done than we have in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's. No, I think he definitely. I think he really appreciates the fact that his communication with the town and the people is vital to his success, and the department's success.
He didn't come here to fail.
No.
He came here to turn the town around, the department around. But by turning the department around, the town's going to come with.
Right. And the more the community sees him out front leading, the more they'll respect the department as a whole.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you, he's got a lot on his shoulders, and he's handling it well.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Oh,
proof is in the pudding, John.
We're seeing it.
Add something else. We have a lot of young officers.
Yeah.
A lot of young officers that I've talked to individually, and they're questioning, is it, and they live here.
I was going to ask how many officers, because it's been brought up that, officers shouldn't live in the town that they serve.
Okay.
And
yes, they should.
I think that's old fashioned New England. I think a lot of people serve where they live.
So there's
always just a handful that don't live in Canton.
So yes and no.
Okay.
Right. And this is one of the issues that I have with civil service. you take a test, and this is entry level, right? You take a test, and if you're a veteran, you get points. If you are in the military, you get points. If you had somebody die that was a police officer in the line of duty, you get to move to the top of the list, and then you get residency preference.
Okay, so Canton is a civil service
Yes.
town. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So this is what happens, and this is I can tell you, this is something that I love about Canton, that is very characteristic, and this is why I would want, if I had grown up here, I would have stayed here, right? And a lot of these officers do, because of the story that I just told you. It's a neighborly, every single officer that I talk to, somebody comes into the lobby and they're, hey, I know that person because I went to school with their brother or sister. So there's that tight closeness, right? But what happens from that is that when people want that, right? People want from their police department to feel, that their officers are taking care of them, right?
Part of the community.
Yes, and you don't get that.
It was, and I don't want to say it was 9/11. All right. But everything he's saying is what we grew up with. Everything he's saying is what we grew up with. The Big Bill Devines, the Earl Newhouses, the Pogursky, the Lenharts, you know what I mean? Like, you could go all the way down the list of all of the offices that you knew growing up in the community, that they played in softball on Sunday mornings. They helped out down, you name it, they were in the middle of the community. And then at some point, it got to be they were in their cruisers with the tinted windows. You didn't see them as much. You would see the school resource officer. We grew up, we didn't have school resource officers. We didn't need them when we grew up, right? So it became, you knew who the officers were growing up, and then as you got into your 20s and 30s and 40s, it changed a little bit. And like I said, 9/11 changed a lot of things because it became a question of security. You look at, and it's not just Canton, it isn't. You look at the majority of police stations, right? The way everything's locked down and the glass, and because they got to protect themselves. Everything's about they want to protect and serve, but they also want to be protected. So I don't know how they're going to get back to the days of the block parties and and all that stuff. But kudos to it if that's what he thinks he's going to get everybody back to. But so I don't know. That's just me just thinking about how he perceives everybody wants it to be. It's going to be tough to get everyone back there with from the SUVs, with the tinted windows, But we'll keep going.
With an external person, the care is not always there to the same level. If you and I went to school together, right, and we came up through,
exactly.
I'm a police officer, and you came to me and you asked me for help because Mike Daniels. I'm going to help you. I'm going to do whatever I can to help you, right? And the appearance of that sometimes can be, you wear the badge and you try to, do the best that you can, but then there's this perspective or the appearance that, well, this person's getting special treatment because it's being a human. It's being a human being. Someone, right, wrong, or indifferent. You want to establish. It's like
that's where the problems lie. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Because it is thought that the investigation into John O'Keefe's death would have been different had these alliances not known each other so closely.
So I'm going to throw this out there because that's not the reason.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to tell, and people can argue this till they're blue in the face. I'm there. I see what they do, right?
Yeah.
Could that be an element, right? You don't want to think that somebody that you know has done something right, but you have an oath to uphold.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
But here's the key thing. If you're the leader of that department, you need to demand professionalism and efficiency in everything. It doesn't matter who it is. It does not matter. Right? So if I'm the boss and I show up to a situation, I make sure I remind these guys, listen, I don't care what the relationships are. You need to pull back and let, direct and take care of things. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say more at a public event,
Okay.
but there's organizational chaos within our PD, right? Is that a bad thing? Yes, it is. And you know why? Because, and I've already worked on it. This is part of bringing the deputy chief in. This is part of this.
Okay.
One of the major things that I've seen here is that the executive level command staff, and I've run into this problem early, when I need to gain access to a specific lieutenant, I have to wait a few days for that to happen. And there's things that I just don't want to communicate through email. I want to have a conversation and say, I need you to do this, and this is how you do it.
Why do you wait a few days? I'm not understanding that.
So what we have right now is typically in many organizations that are this size, and I'll use Westboro for an example, where I came from. I had a very defined role, very defined, and my duties and responsibilities were clearly outlined, and I did not deviate outside of that, right? The reason for that is because it holds one person accountable for those tasks, right? Here we have the upper level command staff. They all share the same responsibilities depending on who's present based on the schedule.
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
So what does that do? Right? When a problem happens, it then creates, well, who's responsible for that? Well, I handled it, but I had to hand it off to this person. And that person's like, well, no, I thought it. And that's what happens. Right? So
in other words, he said it, chaos. It's disorganized, or when the shit hits the fan, you don't know what's going to happen because one person isn't following through with it. It just gets handed to another person, another person, another person, another person.
And this is the thing, in a paramilitary organization, you have to have clearly designated, defined, and very, very clear roles within the agency, right? You have to have that because we talked about the complexity of things, right?
Yeah.
And I, as the boss, I have to make sure that those things exist so that if something gets broken in the chain or something's not handled correctly, I can identify who the source is, what the problem is, and take care of that situation. That hasn't been happening.
Yeah, you can't change the past, but you can move forward and fix
that's
it.
the thing. I wanted to go back
on
something else that I think is important, because this is something else that I've gotten feedback on, but it was relative to the situation that I was talking about with regards to the officers in the back and perception, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I had a very, the second example that I wanted to offer.
For social media, yeah.
Yeah. The second example I wanted to offer was, and how it's been detrimental to us is that, we had that situation, that the perception was,
that they didn't approve of you being hired.
Yeah,
that was the perception out there.
Right.
And that was nothing. That was just timing.
Exactly.
The timing was off. No one knew the decision was going to be made.
Right.
And they thought that they would leave the meeting.
Right. But second to that, one day we're at the station. It was probably my second week, and this has to do with recruiting and hiring that I was talking about. This is what makes things difficult. We brought in 5 people that we were interviewing, and we went a little bit late. But as we're doing the interviews, I'm hearing a lot of commotion and things going on out front of the station. So, I try to ignore it, but it was a little bit distracting. we get through the final interview. So I go upstairs to my office and I look outside and I see every Friday from 12 to 2, there's a group of people. They're great people, by the way, that stand out front and they hold signs. But on this particular day, this is like, I'm going to explain this very thoroughly because this kind of helped influence kind of how I view things in talking to you.
Okay.
So I looked outside and I saw the group was getting ready to shut down and they were going across the street. So I said to myself, I'm like, you know what? Because this is how I am. You know, I want to, introduce myself to these individuals. So I go out and one particular individual who used to work for us was in that group. And I think he organizes these. So I went over, I introduced myself to every one of them. I talked to them and it wasn't very long. And that particular individual said very clearly, Chief, do you have a problem with what we're doing here? And I said, well, if you're exercising your First Amendment rights. That's what we're here to protect. I said, no, I don't have a problem with what you're doing here. And I did explain, I said, we're trying to hire people. Obviously people coming in and driving in and seeing this, it doesn't help our cause, but you're that's your constitutional right. So no, and that's what I'm here to protect. Now, fast forward 2 weeks. And this is where social media becomes problematic. 2 weeks later, I'm at the station and I get a text from one of my relatives and they're like, hey, what are you doing? Are you trying to set Canton on fire? And I go, what are you talking about? So as I'm, going to text her back, I get several emails and then one of the guys is like, hey, you might want to look at social media. So I go up to my office, I open one of my emails and I see like I'm getting inundated with, something that this person put out on social media saying, Chief Daniel supports us, supports our cause. And in that social media post, he lists like anti this and anti that. And I'm like, first off, this is an individual who's a former police officer that knows as a police chief, you cannot align yourself with any group, any political affiliation, right?
Yeah.
Because that compromises your position. So this person took.
It's actually in the contract. We saw Helena's contract. It's in their contract about political positions, aligning themselves with stuff. Literally, it's something that every chief knows. And I don't think he's going after Peter Murphy. He's describing what happened when he was there. But like I said, literally what he's saying is in every chief's contract, not just Canton. It's in all their contracts. But let's continue.
That narrative, and he put it together and made it sound like it was something that I was supporting. So I went outside, I had a conversation with the individual and I said, listen, don't attach my name to social media in this manner because it's not helping us.
Right.
I'm here to bring the community together to make the department move forward. And that's working adversely or contrary to what I'm trying to do here. So he obliged. And then, we went on. But I want to make a point, that people need to really think critically about why people do things and the perception of it. They need to really think critically and ask yourself why. Why is a person doing that? What is their motivation?
Right.
Right. And that has to be clear. I went to graduate school, right? If I had to do a research paper, I couldn't just make something up and go, here's my research. What did the professor ask you to do? Verify your sources, verify them, right? So if you're doing research, you've got to properly cite what somebody else has said properly if you're going to attach it to anything that you're putting a work product out on.
Right. Thanks.
So be kind, be gentle, make peace. I think he agrees. I think he agreed with the fact that that they were exercising their right to their free speech, to protest. He tried to have a discussion with them to say, hey, trying to recruit some people, and I support the fact what you guys are doing, but it's making it hard on me to make the changes to the police station that need to come. You got to change it eventually somehow, and he's trying to make the changes. So they had a discussion, and then and mind you, I don't know what the posts are, so I'm just going by what he's saying, how he's describing himself, and how he's describing the interaction. Did I get that right, Eric?
Yeah,
do you understand what?
I do. I think that I think he's got a very valid point. I used to stand and hold my "I Love Canton" sign at the Canton PD, and I felt that at the time when Helena chose to resign and Chief Perkins came in as the interim, I felt that it was time to move on from Canton PD. Let them do their job and give them the opportunity to right the ship. And I just think it's been a little bit of a detriment to them to have people outside of that location
under the new regime.
And I have no issues. I think it's important that if you want to exercise your First Amendment right, you absolutely have the right to do it. But I think common sense still comes into play.
Okay. And where I agree with him is he didn't name names. He chose his words carefully, right? He didn't throw anyone under the bus. He chose his words carefully.
Yep.
Where I disagree with him is earlier when he talked about the officers that went to him saying we used to have block parties and we used to all get along. I know who he's talking about. Okay. And it works both ways. Those officers aren't even talking to their neighbors anymore. Okay. So those officers every day went after people because they stood up for Karen Reed, because they thought differently about one thing in the whole town than them. Right? So he's only getting part of the story on that issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, listen, hey, be kind, be gentle, make peace. You can think however you want, and you can voice however you want. And this is what this is what I absolutely love about our show. We have people on our show that hopefully you like to watch us, that we all don't think exactly the same. That different people, me and Eric don't get along with more things than you guys even think that we don't get along with. There's reasons Eric doesn't talk politics with a lot of people. Okay. There's reasons why, but the thing is you have to find a way to remain civil. And I think that's where people lost it over the last 3-4 years. People lost the ability to talk to each other about anything but their differences. That one difference has now alienated people. And that's where this chief is going to have to find the bridge to bring these people back together.
He's got his work cut out, and he deserves the opportunity and the time to make things smoother, make the community more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. I saw a post, a comment earlier, when he was talking about the chaos. Yeah, where was the select board? Well, the problem is under the past select boards, the John Conleys, the John Conley regime, they didn't the Mike Loughran. I know I'm the police chief's boss, but I'm not in the policing business, right? It's so when people were crying to the select board to do something, they weren't doing it. So it was their responsibility as well as the current, the past chiefs and deputy chiefs. You know what I mean? And they're the ones that failed. He hasn't failed yet. There you go. He's trying to rebuild the department. He had 5 candidates in there, right? And he can't prevent, and he doesn't want to prevent. But he was letting them know, like, hey, I want to try to rebuild the police department for you, but it's making it hard because anyone that shows up in their car is going to see you guys standing out there. Do you think that's what they're going to sign on for when they could go to, I don't know, Foxborough, Mansfield, somewhere else, anywhere else that pays the same or more and not be under that same scrutiny? You know?
Yeah, it's the community's recruiting as well as the chief.
Yeah. And trust me, coming from the guy that wore the chicken costume, the elephant costume, right? I see both sides of this. I get it. You know, you with your I Love Canton. We've all spoken up in our own different way. You know, let's finish it off. There's only a couple minutes left of his interview here. We got 11 minutes left. We can make this last 11.
Can't just be edited out of context.
And that's a big one for me. And I also want people to know, and I'll leave it at this. If I didn't say it directly, I didn't say it in this form, or I'm not quoted, then it's not true and it's inaccurate.
Okay.
And I'm not going to do anything that's going to further hurt this town. I've told you this.
Right.
Or hurt the PD. So that's my stance. But I think I needed to say that. That's why I backtracked, because that is very important. Very important.
Yeah. Well, I thank you. I thank you for clarifying that. And in our previous meeting before the cameras came on, you talked about the need for this community to have resource dogs. And I found that interesting.
We don't have to get into this.
Do we have a police dog? And what's the difference between resource
this goes into
dogs?
Mental health.
Changing the subject here.
No, it's okay. So he
goes into the mental health aspect of of a dog, which we had heard the interim chief talk about.
Listen, I told you they prepared me. It's actually so I was a clinician liaison over in Westboro, and I could tell you.
What haven't you done, Chief?
Listen, I told you they prepared me.
Fully experienced chief here.
Well, I was lucky enough to have somebody that believed in me and put me in different things and exposed me to different things so that I could be better for not Canton specifically, but be better as a leader.
Yes.
So where were we on that?
What the clinician does in mental health calls.
So
yeah. So is that
it 100% is. But I think this is just me, based on what I have planned for the future and for the vision of the department. I think that should be an actual lieutenant role.
Okay.
For more oversight on the different shifts. So, and traffic enforcement would.
Oh, yeah. Let me back this up a tiny bit. Yeah. Sorry.
The idea of traffic's a big issue in Canton, and
we'll finish it with the traffic.
The audit mentioned having a traffic sergeant or something along those lines.
Yeah.
What was your thought on?
So I've actually, so that was approved. I think it was last spring town meeting. Traffic is an issue. I'm not going to say it's not.
Mhm.
It 100% is. But I think this is just me, based on what I have planned for the future and for the vision of the department. I think that should be an actual lieutenant role.
Okay.
For more oversight on the different shifts. So, and traffic enforcement would be a part of that. But I think, an executive level lieutenant that has divisional command over that and a number of other things would provide more accountability measures to ensure that those things are happening.
So your vision is to restructure
Right.
a lot of what is already in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there definitely is definitely room for improvement. And, I also want to say that I have not received any pushback from the officers. In fact, they're looking for change. I think they're looking for, at this point, they want leadership and they want a way to move forward, not move past things, but move forward. How can we do that? How can we reconnect with the community? And, you heard what I said earlier about, some of the things that I've been hearing about the officers. They don't have that connection, right? And the town itself doesn't have that or feel that connection or that confidence in the police department. And I'm here to restore that. And there's always two sides to a story.
Yes.
Everyone knows that, and everyone has their own perspective on things. But I think, over time, things will get better. We'll build those connections back. We'll build the trust back. And that's all I'm here to do.
Great. So would that be your message to Canton residents, or would you want to
Absolutely.
say anything else?
No, I want to thank you for the opportunity. I want to let people know too, I try to meet with as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain requests that I've had over time, for, face-to-face conversations and things like that. And, I want to, excuse me, I want to be, available and accessible. But also at the same time, I also want to make sure that there's a process, in place, for that to happen. I've been to several events already, which have been fantastic. I got slimed over at the Luce Middle School with the superintendent. It was fun. I've already said that I'm coming back next year.
Great.
But that was fun. I was here for Black History over the presentation over at the Galvin Middle School. And I've been making my rounds as best as I can.
Great.
And this is the message that I'm going to deliver as a leader.
And you'll be back on Canton Community Television.
Yeah, no, definitely. But, and like I said, if it doesn't come directly from me, you haven't heard me say it, rest assured, I have no problems, talking to a person and them asking me what my thoughts are on something, and I will proudly deliver that. So, but I want to thank you very much.
Thank you. It was great discussion today, a lengthy one and we jumped around a bit. So I appreciate your honesty and your forthcomingness, and thank you for being on Canton Community Television today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
There you go.
John, we got it all.
What?
We did.
You got it all in.
Whole show in under 4 hours.
Yeah, I know. Anyone that wants to watch the full video, Canton Cable Access, just
Canton
go
Community TV.
Canton Community TV. Even if you put access, it'll come up. But it used to be CC. It used to be Canton Community Access TV. It used to be that, but now it's Canton Community TV. You can right at the top. You can search for video on demand. Go into the video on demand, and it's like the third. There's boxes right across. It's the third box over. Incredible. I'm sold on him, and
the only
rest
real
is
issue.
What?
The only real issue I had is I don't know. I think there's corruption, man. I see corruption.
There isn't now. Well, Ian, he's talking about systemic. He's talking about systemic corruption.
Are you putting words?
I think he's talking about it as a whole.
All right, it's your opinion. He's talking about systemic.
It's my opinion. It's my opinion.
It's my opinion that related to the John O'Keefe investigation that he believes there was no corruption, and I disagree with that.
So he believes it was ineptness. My opinion.
Fair enough.
Right.
But
some
it was inept. So maybe he should have taken over for
Berkey.
No, for Noble.
Right. Yeah. I want to get back to the that emails that we talked about for a minute. Remember, I said that it was a she put out a plea for people to it was an email campaign.
Yeah.
Remember? All right. How about this? Terry Roberts' email was July 10th. Jackie Dugal's email, July 10th. Casey Gillis, I don't know, a friend of the family, July 10th. Nancy Syracusa, that's the in-law, right? That's Proctor's in-law there. July 15th. Jen McCabe's dad, July 15th. Meg Kennedy, July 15th. Matt McCabe, July 22nd. It took him a while to write his. And Casey Bradley, another July 22nd. Yeah. Not one single email to or from the O'Keefe family. How about that? Right?
Mm.
It's all that same area, right? Syracuse, good basketball. No, not Syracuse. Syracuse. I do have some news that I want to update, and then then we can pretty much call it a night if you want, Eric. I mean,
it's past my bedtime already.
Yeah, it's past my bedtime. I have to get up at 4:30.
Right.
Yeah. So first off, I can't believe we got through. I mean, I did cut a couple things, but it is what it is.
Save them for the next show.
Well, no, not really. I can't do that. Eric.
All right, fair enough.
You know why?
Why?
Well, because the next show is we got something big coming next week.
You got breaking news?
So for our Canton people that are still watching us, and for anyone from Stoughton, tough town, that are watching us, I don't know if we have any Avon people watching us, but we've officially reached out to all three candidates running for state rep, the Canton, Stoughton, Avon district. And so far, we've heard back from 2 out of the 3. And this is why you guys should care about this, at least, our Canton peeps. That seat is currently held by Bill Galvin. After 30 years, he's stepping away. And Eric, we talked earlier. That's about 20 years too much, in my opinion. I like those term limits for people.
Oh, I like term limits as well.
Yep,
at all levels.
I think 10 to 12 years you serve on it. After that, it just there's a lot of happen, right? So if it's just another vote on bills, if that's what people think, you're wrong, because Bill Galvin was not just a state rep. He was the guy that helped decide what even got voted on. As the chair of the House Committee on Rules, and he was a leader on the Joint Committee on Rules, he was one of the people who controlled what bills made it to the floor here in Massachusetts. He shaped how debates and quietly influenced what never saw the light of day, right? So you're not just replacing a name. you're replacing. You could be the person who might step into a role that's going to help control the flow of legislation on Beacon Hill. You're going to be able to control the flow of who gets heard, what gets buried, how decisions actually get made. So next week, I think we're going to be bringing you at least one, maybe more, but I think we're going to be bringing you at least one of these candidates live to answer real questions from us. And it's not a canned campaign speech. We're not endorsing them. We're not going to throw softballs at them.
I assume it's a regular interview, correct?
It's going to be a regular interview, just information so that you guys can decide for yourself, and have some knowledge leading into the yeah, well, sorry, I just put you to sleep, but you know what? Bill Galvin, he basically decided what gets voted on. So if you have here's one. Should the so you might want to go to sleep because of that. Do you really want the state telling the town of Canton where they have to zone things? We're seeing the old Nick's restaurant, right? That's all turning into condos. All those streets around there, those are all now forced so that they could rebuild because they're close to the T. Right? Those are things that our state reps vote on. Those are the things that they're passing, where they're rezoning all these towns, right, to make them all basically public transit. So
let's keep in mind, John, that this state is for the most part, a one-party state. It's a super majority, has been for a long time, and it is what it is. The voters have had their way, but we need more people to vote in every election.
Hey, you say it's a one-party state, right?
Well, I say it's a super majority state.
It's a super majority. Anyone that has looked into Mike Loughran's voting, if you notice, he's running as a Democrat, but he votes as a Republican. He pulls Republican papers and votes as a Republican, but he's going to run as a Democrat because he knows it's a Democrat state. And he wants your vote. Yeah, there's little things that you see here. Just saying.
Well, maybe Michael come on and talk about his votes and his how he sees Norfolk County moving forward and the three towns that he'll represent.
Gina Marie, who do you think has not answered one way or the other to me? and I understand why. Okay. Chicken Nuggets has not responded, and that's fine. I offered it to all three, and he's the only one that has not replied back.
Yet when wasn't he part of the conversation you had at the police station with then Chief Rafferty and Charlie Duty?
Yes, he was.
He was there, right?
It was the three of us. No, it wasn't at the police station. It was at Town Hall.
It was the three of us.
It was Mike behind his laptop, Charlie, and Helena and myself. Yeah.
So you granted him an hour or two of your
hour
time.
or two, 3 hours.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
3 hours to convince you not to wear the duck suit. You still wore it.
Maybe he'll Zoom. Maybe he'll Zoom half of his campaign. I don't know.
Well, hey, we're okay with Zoom in this situation.
Right.
We highly recommend it.
Right. So, all right. Well, so that's that. So next week we're gonna have a guest on, and we're gonna act normal. Right. We don't want to scare them off. They must not know us well.
John, this is normal.
This is normal. So, but yeah, you know what? You're falling asleep. I got to get up at 4:30. So this is past my bedtime. So I want to thank all the Kronks and obviously to our mods. And And for any and any of you, the replay crew, we love the replay crew and Canadian cousins. And don't forget, if you guys, Mother's Day is coming. It's the medals print by Anna. There you go. And go get me a medal. Get your, I don't know, my it was my birthday. We missed my birthday, so but there you go. I'm good. You good, Derek?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks everybody. And one last comment. I mean, chicken soup. Talk the three snakes. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, everybody.
It's the Chronicle signing off with a flame, dropping names, spitting facts, shaking up the game. It's fire, it's grit, it's no holds barred. A mic in one hand, the town on guard. The truth hits harder than a Fairview brawl, and the Chronicle's here to expose it all. From cover-ups to donut runs, we light up the night like Canton suns. Next episode, yeah, we'll be back with more names, more flames, and a truth.